paint the sky with static lights, flickering screens, and neon guys. Truth dissolves in the digital haze. We're all just pawns in a twisted maze. Purple or blue, white or black, we all bleed red, that's a fact. Fools, fuels, freedoms, that's all we need. They sow division, we plant the seed. Gaslight nation, we see through the game. Tired of the fire, tired of the same. Hungry minds with empty plates, they serve us fear, they call it fate. We're breaking chains, we're waking fast, stay hold on us, we're never lost. Purple or blue, white or black, we all bleed red, that's a fact. Fools, fuels, freedoms, that's all we need. They sow division, we plant the seed. Gaslight nation, we see through the game. Tired of the fire, tired of the same.
You'd think I'd learn to check on that like first thing before anything else, but apparently I don't. Welcome back, my beautiful Tater Nation. It's me, boomering it up already, as usual. But it's me, the potato, peeking out from beneath the soil, watching the world grow, and occasionally trip over its shoelaces. Constantly, it seems like anymore, right? And you know us potatoes, we have lots and lots of eyes, and we like watching all the interesting things that humans do up top. From culture to politics, from history to the headlines, from common sense to complete nonsense, breaking it down as only a potato can. Today we're going to be digging in and taking a good, honest look at what's really going on. So grab a seat, grab a snack, preferably a potato, and let's dig in. Let's see what the world looks like through a potato's eye. And of course, I muted myself, so, well, it wasn't me. It was OBS changing my mic around again. But you can hear me now, right? I see that you couldn't hear me, but you can hear me now, right? Welcome in, guys. Appreciate the engagement. Going back to the top, we had Olmsted starting off the stream, starting off the chat. Thank you very much for that. Stacy, good to see you. Always good to see you guys. Alexandria, thank you very much for the engagement. Won't necessarily engage with the whole conversation we had before the stream. Still driving home, but I made it. It's good to see you, Vashmet. Appreciate the engagement, buddy. All right, and Leah Bobea, good to see you. JM, as always, good to see you. All right, you can hear me. Good. I don't have to repeat all that again. All right, let's see. Looks like that might be everybody that's in the chat so far. So let me see what I have for funny stuff to get our stream going, and then we'll get into the conversation at hand. So as normal, I want to talk about a few different types of topics. Kind of sticking with the same theme as I started last week with the infrastructure that we spend billions of dollars to put in, and then does it get used, right? Are we really contemplating what we're doing with our money? And I realize that a lot of us don't have money to contemplate using. But again, when it comes down to it, the taxpayer is the one who usually cleans things up behind developers and things like that. We usually bail out big corporations, or they just leave it, and then the community has to take care of it so that they can still use the land. But before we get into the conversation at hand, obviously, I'll start in with some funny things here. See if we have anything in the chat that we want to discuss. Nope, doesn't look like it. Let's see. Oh, and Stacy, have you gone on that podcast yet? I know that you were talking about a podcast, and I was going to cover it. That was going to be a free for me subject, right? So I was just kind of curious if that had happened yet. JM says, I believe the infrastructure crisis they use was going to be settled through the data center installation. I believe the infrastructure crisis they use was going to be settled through the data center installation. It's interesting. Apprentice, good to see you. Oh, wow, I lost track of time. I'm here. Good to see you. Appreciate the engagement, buddy. And then again, as always, well, not as always, but since I've started a couple of weeks ago, we will be opening up the panel after the show to talk about the infrastructure crisis, just general conversation. We can move into conversations that you guys want to discuss. We don't necessarily have to discuss what I'm going to discuss on this show, but typically what I will be doing is discussing what I've talked about on the show in my open panel. Next week, I have more planned. It's just I've been overwhelmed, so this is just kind of following up with what I was started with last week, and then we'll talk about more stuff going forward next week and such, and go on and so forth, right? Anyway, so we'll get into some things that are funny, right? Like, you know me, I like to laugh a little bit before we get into the doom and gloom. So I featured him last week, Nathan Doan. This kid's pretty funny. I've been watching a lot of his stuff just because it comes up on my feed. Probably because there's nothing else other than data centers, flock cameras, and this guy on my feed. So this is what I apparently have to show you. But he's funny. It's good stuff. If you are on Facebook, go follow him. Give him the love. All right, let's see. Yep, we got the sound.
You mind pulling it up for me, PC? GTA. Alright, and it'll be done in 12 minutes. Not too bad.
Yeah, 12 minutes is not bad at all. Lady Stacy says if you want to go over some of the IBLP cult stuff before I go on, nothing super crazy, we can chat about it. Yeah. Hit me up in DM. We'll chat. Okay, that's fair. It's a crime podcast, and the Dugars take a back seat to the newer stuff. So it's whenever they do the next Duggar show. Okay, that's fair. I just wanted to make sure because I remembered. So being the boomer that I am, I didn't want to forget again. Anyway, I thought this was funny. If you have terrible internet, POV, so I'm always having bad internet. It says download in 12 minutes. That's not too bad.
Okay, 24 minutes.
Uh-oh. What's going on? No.
Why does the time keep going up? I thought it already estimated it. Why is it re-estimating? You can stop now.
12 years?
Will they still be on?
Will they still be alive? What are we talking about here? 12 years. The people that in my chat that knew of dial-up era. Yeah, that we feel the pain, right? That constant climbing up.
Dude, my friends are gonna grow up and start a family by the time this finishes downloading. Their kids are gonna be playing GTA 7 by the time this finishes downloading. What do I do, PC? I want a game with all the boys.
Like I was saying last week, it was, or a week before, whatever, it was trying to tell me to move, and I'm hardwired in.
I already have it off the ground, PC.
I already have it off the ground, PC.
It's already wired, PC. You should know this.
You should know this. It's already inside of you. Wait. Anyway, yeah. Oh, that noise. Yeah, right. Alexander, I remember dial up. Dating ourselves, guys. Oh man. About to shoot me a fact. Yeah, right. Hey, Chaos Theory, good to see you. Appreciate the engagement, guys. Wow.
I don't have money for that. Come on, PC. I need better solutions.
I can feel that pain so much. I'm broke, guys. What am I supposed to do?
All right, geez, I'm sorry.
Shut up. Poor wife.
All right.
Oh, man. Getting yelled at by your computer is another level right there. Oh, man. Right? We didn't have YouTube Live. We had AIM. Pretty much. Stacy said, my computer stopped working last night. Something happened to the cord, but I freaked out so bad it made me sad. I had to... I'm sorry, Stacy. I'm not laughing at you. I'm not laughing at you. I'm laughing in your general direction. I'm just kidding. Anyway, sorry. Oh man. All right, fine. I'll try one more time. Scanning for Wi-Fi intensifies. Hey, Static Age, good to see you, man. Good to see you. And if you don't know, Static Age does have his own show. Go check him out. Might not be your cup of tea, but check him out either way. Yeah, that dial-up sound. Oh man. Laugh at me. It's super sad and super pathetic. I still won't laugh at you, but I'll laugh at the situation. It might be funny. That's exactly. Yes, Apprentice. I thought I had recognized the kind of vibes. That's exactly like the whole facial, everything. Like, I know it's just because he's Asian. They all look the same. Sorry, was that racist? No, I have a lot of Asian friends, so I can't be racist. I hate everybody equally, right?
Okay. So what?
So what?
I don't...
Stealer Wi-Fi! Obviously they do. Can't you hear me laughing? Sorry. Dumb jokes. But you know, what can you expect from a potato?
No, I can't do that. She's really nice to me, PC. I still can't do it, PC.
51.5 seconds. Yeah.
Okay, fine. How would I even steal her Wi-Fi though? I don't know the password.
On it. Alexandria, do potatoes feel pain when we eat them or fry them? Well, I'm hearing that plants do feel pain. They scream. We just can't hear it. So probably. Think about that the next time you make mashed potatoes. Shit. Anyway, that's right. I'm an equal opportunity hater from the dirt up. Anybody that's above me, I hate you. I'm just kidding. Anyway. Exactly, Boschman.
Man, I really gotta get my hands dirty.
For the boys.
Alright, I sent it. She's probably not near her phone. This is a lost cause, PC. I'm just gonna unsend it. Okay.
Isn't it though, Alexandria? So sad.
Wait, I think she clicked on it, PC.
I don't know why it's so small. I don't think that's supposed to be that small on the screen.
It worked, PC! Oh my god, thank you, PC! I'm gonna get to play with the boys! Not enough space. How much space do I need?
Your computer's a potato
106
too.
gigabytes? What am I supposed to delete?
I got you. What's it gonna delete? School projects, of course.
Oh, my school folder? I can't delete my school folder. It's important stuff. Yeah, there's a lot of projects in there.
But for the boys! Oh, feet. What is going on? What the?
It's not what it seems!
What the?
I can explain, PC! Oh no!
That was not even good.
Oh no. No. I just want to play with the boys! I just want to play with the boys!
Fair enough, Carl.
Automated license plate readers, and in particular the dominant vendor, Flock Safety, have quietly become one of the most...
said shut up! Sorry. That's funny. Yeah, I was gonna say drive careful, but never mind. Chaos, never mind. I'll just shut up. Let's see. Oh my goodness. Okay, so kind of off subject, but I came across this and I didn't necessarily want to go back over it to cover it, but I found this quite interesting. So we'll watch this real fast. But this was on the bricks and minifigs situation, and so this was the city council meeting after the whole thing. Yeah, so this is interesting.
Citizens of Utah are speaking out, specifically American Fork City Council, which is where all this bricks and minifigs stuff takes place. Listen to this video.
Daniel Soroka. When I reviewed the budget, I noticed that there was an increase of around $600,000, which is a 9% increase to our property taxes. Even though this increase is large, it is not large enough for the upcoming civil lawsuits that our city is about to face because of the misconduct of our police department. Our police department in March went on a crusade against an individual, and he now has legal rights to sue this city.
I feel that, Chaos.
That is going to be our taxpayer dollars that are going to have to pay for that.
Yeah, so on that note, I want to bring up the fact that anytime that we have to take it to the city for a misconduct of our police department or of AI systems that are taking over, that is taxpayer money that has to pay for that settlement. So every time that there's misconduct happening, that's not just an issue because of the person that dealt with it is having to deal with fraud against them, AI attacking them for not right cases. It's also every taxpayer in the city then has to pay for that settlement. So we need to be really aware of that stuff when it comes to these kind of things, which is basically what I was kind of getting at when we talked about this in the beginning, right? JM says, it's just American Fork. Police are corrupt through and through, not just in this case. Thank you so much. And so that's the thing is we need to be holding the people that hold us accountable much more accountable. They should be the ones that are leading us by example. And they're not. We need to be better about this. Hey, JM, JB, good to see you, man. Everybody's got J's in their names. Come on, man. I'm just kidding. JM, good. JB. It's going to be a long fucking day. Jeez. Sorry, JB. It is good to see you, brother. Thank you for the engagement.
The police chief then went on a media release and lied to the public. He stated that the individual did not complete a traffic stop or did not complete a stop sign complete stop, but when reviewing the video evidence, they did. He said that when this individual was trying to serve court papers, which is his civil right, that when the police reviewed the court papers, they said that they had already been served, which was a lie. They had not been. The police swatted this individual, arresting 5 people without any arrest warrants, and then took 4 of them who they did not even know the identity of.
It's 5 o'clock somewhere. Plus, it's Sunday. What do you got to do? Other than watch me.
Into custody. One of them being a minor, which they pointed a gun at. This is unacceptable conduct of the police department. When Paul took office, he said, I am extremely committed to ensuring our community members are proud of their police department and their officers. I am not proud of my police department officers. In fact, seeing this conduct, I am in fear of standing here with seeing if there's any retribution that they might bring on me. Because that is what they did to this individual.
Isn't it, Leia? It just keeps getting crazier and crazier. Like I said, I don't necessarily mean to keep going over it myself, but this was quite an interesting little bit of information that I found. It's just wild to me that the police did this.
And if they're willing to do that to them, they are willing to do that to me, to anyone else. Thank you.
Please check out this person, Stream Standard, Goosey. All of these are available on there. I can't play all of them here, so go check them out. This is on X.
So yeah, I just found that really interesting. So I wanted to share that. And then this is hilarious. Maybe it's probably, I don't think I need the sound. It's just funny. I blacked out last night. I hope I didn't do anything too crazy. Blocked by Israel. Trump blocked you. NASA blocked you. PETA blocked you. Sounds like me when I get known in the internet scene. Oh, man. And then this I found hilarious. I'm pretty sure I posted it on my Discord. If you're not part of my Discord, I found this hilarious. Oh, shit. I can't. Probably better not have that sound on. That's for sure. But only in America, the country's crock spread is spaghetti. The sour cream is I don't even know what that is. Coffee beans, maybe. Cool Whip is macaroni salad. And then of course, can anybody guess? Can anybody guess before I show it? What is in the cookie tin from back in the day? I'm sure we can probably all guess. JB, if you ask me, it's always time for beer if you aren't an alcoholic. It's never too early. That's right. That's how I feel about it. That's how I feel about it. Let's see. It's unfortunately, there's several different cases just like this at American Fork Police Department. That's scary. That's really scary. I feel bad for the American Fork people. I want to say I have family there or a relative there, and they're going to pay more in taxes just because somebody didn't want to follow the law. Yes, Static, but it's Sunday, and he did have to do it today. He did. Sorry, I've spent a lot of time around literal-minded children. Fair enough. But yes, anyway, sewing butter. Maybe I wasn't as right as I was. I was sure everybody would know. Sewing stiff. Sewing stuff. Yeah. It's sewing stuff. I always remember when I was a kid seeing one of these tins and going, "Ooh, cookies!" And it always had sewing stuff in it. Oh man. That's funny. Or pictures. That's fair. That is fair. Butter. But yeah, Alexandria. Butter. Oh, I see what you guys are saying. Yeah, I just everybody just seems to have it, I guess. I don't know. Give me a break. I'm just a potato. Anyway, found that funny. Only in America. And then if you guys haven't heard, this has been around for a minute, but anytime that Bill Gates is involved, we probably don't want to be involved.
So Bill Gates is funding a new meat company. Yay. They will be using lab-created cells that never stop dividing.
So I'm pretty sure I've covered this as lab-grown meat. But again, reiterating things.
Kind of sounds like cancer. No.
No.
This infinite machine will endlessly spit out animal tissue without ever needing a new creature. That's cool. And apparently,
that's safe.
It holds the same biological DNA as aggressive cancers and tumors. So there's that. And somehow they get to market as regular meat. Interesting. You guys, this is not natural, but I am curious who out there is going to be purchasing this mysterious meat.
Seriously, though, again, not anything new there, but I want to bring it up anytime that somebody brings it up because we've got to fight back against that. There is no way that is going to be anything but toxic to the human body. So let's see. I think that's all the funny stuff that I had, unfortunately. But let me see what this was. I can't remember why I saved it, but I saved it, I think, today. So let me see.
Now, this is 7:50.
Yes. So this is something I'll be covering on a later date. Hopefully I'll remember. All right. So getting into kind of some of the subjects that I want to talk to you guys about. Let's see. Yeah, heck yeah. 7 years. Let's see, who did I miss? Whoever it is, congratulations. It's a process for sure. I missed that flyover, I guess. Just outed myself, didn't I? I guess. I don't know. Yeah, exactly. Cancer cells. The only thing that I can see with the replication of it as fast as they're going to need to be is cancer cells. Hey, Kyle, good to see you. Appreciate the engagement. As always, good to see you, man. Let's see. Was the RFB? I heard that voice and unmistakable. Could be. I'm not sure. I haven't looked into it a whole lot. It's about the fires, and we can actually just really quick. I'll be going back over it anyway. It's only a minute. And this was fairly recently. Richard RFB. Yep. RFB. Yep. You recognize the voice for sure. This is pretty important. I will be recovering it too, but it also goes in hand with another subject that I have. If I can not be a boomer, for sakes.
So this is right now. This is 7:54 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. This looks totally natural to me. I mean, look at the storms blinking in and out. Look at all the NextRad running in just this area, keeping this heat dome in place. Meanwhile, down here in Southern California, I don't even know what to call this. This is just natural nature. All good. Nothing to see here.
Yeah, nothing to see there. We've got everything is gradually moving to the right on the screen, which would be east, obviously. But this particular storm is pushing to the west, to the left of the screen. Interesting.
Surely this has nothing to do with wildfires or droughts or anything like that. They're using the weather as a weapon, period. They've been telling about... I don't understand why people don't understand this. It's right here in front of your face. When these things light up and stay lit up, what do you think? They're just 24/7 trying to find out what the weather is so you can make it to work the next day? These things are weapons. This is what people think HARP does. These create, control, steer, manipulate, and stall the weather, causing all the weather that's destroying the United States right now. I'm out.
So like I'd mentioned, that goes hand in hand with another subject that I'm going to talk to you probably about next week. The fact that they have patented ways of steering hurricanes, steering disastrous storms to how they want them to be. This is patented technology information that I will bring to the forefront and give all the receipts with it. I just didn't want to necessarily bring
y'all, it finally
all of it up
happened.
right now because I don't have all the receipts with me as of right now. But I have been digging into it, and it is wild stuff. This isn't theories. This is stuff that I've been finding documents on. So, let's see. It's supernatural looking, of course, right? Each individual heat blob merged. Yeah, it is wild, JM. Yeah, exactly. Exactly, JB. Aren't we also in a super El Nino? Could that make a difference? And then you think about what a super El Nino is, and that's the heating of the ocean. And we have the issue of data centers heating ambient air around them, and China dropping them into the ocean. That's not going to heat the ocean at all. That's not going to have a problem with the El Nino. Nah, not at all. JM says, weather modification has been going on since World War I. Bingo! Right there. If you really look into cloud seeding, they have been doing it since World War I, since even before that, to try to black out the sky so that they could be undetected or whatever the case is. And then they used it continuously on since then. Keep in mind, just because there is a patent for it doesn't mean it works as intended. I appreciate that point out, Voshmit. But it also means that they are trying to become an actual operationable item. Now, I understand that doesn't necessarily mean it's always going to happen. But the crazy thing is nanoparticles and smart dust spark technology backbreaker info packets. Yeah. If you haven't looked into nanoparticulates and smart dust, that's a crazy rabbit hole. So what I'm probably going to be doing, so if you don't know, I've started to expand my crew in my Discord, and I have some coordination team that are now coordinating the prompts that I have on Thursdays. And we have been I have basically wanted to do a conspiracy theory panel, right? What do you guys think about these theories or these things that we have found what we assume to be facts on, right? So if you have any suggestions on some crazy, how many theories are there out there, you know? But some of the more major ones that are really hitting the scene right now, maybe join the Discord if you're not part of it and let me know what you think. And we'll discuss them one of these panels. Hey, Bulldog, good to see you. Good to see you. Appreciate the engagement. Hope you're doing all right. Let's see. They have 100% real deal data, real-time data before the enemy walks out their door. They know what's happening. And that's exactly it. With the heartbeat technology where they found that guy in Afghanistan or whatever it was, you know, just that alone. This is released information. Now the public knows about it, right? So the rabbit hole aside, we have that capability. So if we have that capability, what else do we have the capability of? Smart dust isn't that far out of the realm at that point in time. And that's just it, is the data centers, you know, a lot of these data centers underground are running smart dust technology. Is that what the data centers are for? Is it just for surveillance centers? Now, I'm not necessarily going to try to spend a whole lot of time on the data centers today because I know that's kind of a old, stale topic. I'm trying to keep things a little lively so we're not talking about the same thing over and over again, because I could seriously beat them to death if you let me, but I don't necessarily want to do that to you guys. I want to bring other things to the forefront so that you guys have some better information to deal with. So, like I said, that's kind of all I had for the funny stuff, and obviously not so funny. So, on Hubris, right? The arrogance of people. I can't remember if we've talked about the line on the stream. You know, the line in Saudi Arabia, Neom, I believe is where the town is being called. And we'll be covering that probably in depth because this goes hand in hand with that. But how they tried to go for 170 kilometers across the desert and then had to scale it down a great deal because it was just so out of the realm of possibility of actually making happen. So what are we doing when we build these projects, these mega projects? Because once they're up for a very long time. These aren't easily dismantled and taken down afterwards, let alone if they ever get occupied in the first place. Like this one and the next one that we'll be talking about never had anybody actually get into the apartments, into the actual units. The next one we'll be talking about, they got them in and then they had to immediately evacuate them because of the structure. Yes, I have hair. You can't see it out of the back of my, I mean, come on. But yes, I'm a hairy potato. Like I'm a Sasquatch of a potato. You don't even know. But anyway, yes, I will be doing an after panel, and I'll be opening up the panel on any stream that I have from here on out, unless something happens, and I can't open it up for whatever reason. But otherwise, I will be opening up the panel. So anybody is welcome to join if you'd like to start to get into the vetting room and vet with my mods. Feel free to. Some of them should be available. Some of them might not. But if you are not part of the Discord, you will need to go in and react to the multiple potato emoji. not just the thumbs up. It'll be the multiple potato emoji, my special emoji. And then that'll give you access to the server. Once you have access to the server, then you can go to the vetting room. I know that's a lot of steps, but if you really want to be there, you'll get there, I guess. I don't know. Anyway, Tuscan Raiders are doing their best. Okay. Right. That's funny. Besides the emptiness of the building, who would want to live there? Well, and see, that's just it, is it gets so much worse. So we'll get into this real quick, and then we'll see what we got.
This is a $400 million skyscraper that nobody... The units were sold. This is a $400 million skyscraper that nobody can live in. In 2013, Fortis Property Group paid $64 million for a narrow lot on the Manhattan waterfront. They wanted that specific address for a reason. Direct East River views right in the heart of the financial district. By 2015, construction was underway. The plan was a glass tower filled with perks like a heated infinity pool and even private luxury yachts for the people living there. Because it was so unique, the apartments were expensive. The original sales offering targeted 80 of the building's 98 total units with a projected sellout of $272 million. People loved the idea. On the very first day sales opened, 20% of the building was sold immediately. Even Frederick Eklund, the star of $1 Million Listing, bought a $4.6 million duplex for himself, not as the listing agent, but as a believer in the project, because everyone thought this couldn't fail. But as the glass tower started rising into the sky, the dream project began to fall apart. On paper, nothing about this looks like a disaster. So where does a ghost tower start? It starts with what's underneath it. A huge chunk of Lower Manhattan isn't natural land. The original shoreline of Manhattan sat much further inland, roughly around what is now Pearl Street. Everything east of that, including the block where 161 Maiden Lane stands, used to be the East River. Starting in the 1600s, settlers began expanding the island by filling the water with whatever they had on hand. This was a messy mix of rocks, sand, trash, old wood, and even entire abandoned ships that were simply buried where they sat.
That is wild to me to think about. So, has anybody in my chat seen the show Futurama? There's an episode in there. If you don't know Futurama, it's in the future. The main character gets frozen, wakes up in 2,000 years, 1,000 years, and at one point in time in history, they have gathered all of the trash from our century up and shot it up into space and as a gigantic ball. And it comes back and becomes a problem later on, and they have to shoot up another gigantic trash ball. If you haven't seen Futurama, go check it out. It's funny as shit. But this always reminds me of that. Whenever I hear about the coastline of Manhattan and how we have expanded it with junk. It's not land. It's junk. Like, why would we even think that it was a smart idea in the first place, let alone then go to actually building on top of this? Wild stuff. JM says, do potatoes have mullets? Is that what you're asking? I apparently have a mullet. That's what I'm talking about. I need to get my hair cut. It's getting bad. Usually what I do is I just shave it off. And then when I started my podcast, so if you can't tell, I'm very blonde. And so it looks like I'm bald. And somebody was like, do you even have hair? And so I was like, well, maybe I'll grow my hair out. And now it's just so long. There's like curls coming up over my glasses. It's a mess, guys. Oh, shit. And the building was probably made from Chinesium and cardboardcrete. That's probably true, too. There has to be bedrock somewhere. Sounds like something Bush would say. That's true. And that's pretty much what they said, too.
When engineers tested the soil at 161 Maiden Lane, they found that the first few feet is just that old mix of rubble and debris.
I try not
Below
to,
that
Alexandra.
is
I'm
soft
sorry.
marshland and sand.
Don't
The
hate
solid
me.
bedrock is 155 feet deep. In Midtown Manhattan, bedrock sits 50 to 70 feet down. Here at the seaport, it's 3 times deeper. So what's the safe way to build a 60-story tower on this kind of trash soil? Driving massive foundation piles all the way down to that bedrock. It costs a fortune and takes a long time, but it's the only way to guarantee the building won't move.
So this is actually a really good way of building to a certain extent. This is, as of we know of right now, this is the best way of building. So this is how the Burj Khalifa, if you don't know, that is I believe the tallest building in the world in Dubai. And this is how they built that. So Dubai is sand, it's desert. So they had to drive piles down into the desert floor to hit bedrock and then put a platform on top of that to create the foundation that is the Burj Khalifa today. So that's essentially what they're trying to do with this concept as well.
Once you're anchored to that rock, it doesn't matter if the landfill around it shifts, the building stays still.
Fair enough, Alexander.
Fortis had geotechnical reports. They knew what was under that lot, and they made a decision that at the time probably felt like a reasonable cost-saving measure. They saved 2% of the total budget, or $6 million.
That's a very, very fair point, JM. Venice, Italy is all on pillars because it's all underwater. And if you have seen, what movie was that where they jacked the pillars up? Oh man, I'm such a movie buff. Holy cow. Every time I say what movies I watched, it just reminds me of how little of a life I've had. If Dubai can do it, we can do it. And what's funny about that is, so I've been trying to find the video that I was watching about it, but I guess the Burj Khalifa is shifting and is cracking. So the world's largest building, because of the way that the foundation was built, I'm assuming, is possibly, allegedly, however you want to say it, is deteriorating. They also do this in areas of Louisiana and Florida as well. I guess that's fair, but Mexico City was a lake. That's fair enough. How much garbage do we produce that is going to become an issue later? Because as things decompose, they don't hold the same structural size as they did before they were decomposing. And so as things decompose and settle, right? I had this one customer that wanted me to fill a hole with a bunch of wood and then put paver stones on top of the hole once I got it filled. And I was like, no, I can't do that. If I put paver stones on top of it, they're going to sink, and then I'm going to have to stand behind my work. And I can't do that when I put wood underneath that's going to then deteriorate. Speaking of deterioration, we go all the way down that rabbit hole with microbiology and the microbes. Our dirt isn't like it used to be. Things don't decompose like they used to, which also adds to this issue.
Decided to ignore the deep bedrock, and it turned out to be the single most expensive choice in the entire project.
Me too, Alexandria.
They used a technique
We have a movie
called
night,
jet
if I could ever
grouting.
remember it.
Jet grouting is like trying to stiffen a sponge by injecting it with glue. You aren't reaching the solid floor, you're just trying to make the sponge, the soft landfill, hard enough to act like a floor. By shooting cement into the soil at high pressure, they created a stiff mat for the building to sit on, hoping it would hold. However, a geotechnical report had...
Exactly, JM. And then they go and they try to cut corners. So instead of driving those piles down 155 feet, which, I mean, to be fair, would be expensive. So that's why we don't do that particular building at that particular site. We find somewhere that's actual land that's open. Oh, there isn't one? Oh, well, that sucks, doesn't it? Stop trying to develop shit you can't develop. So what they did is they went down, they injected cement into the holes. Rather than filling the holes with cement, they just injected it with cement. So now they're hoping that that will work, that that will last the tests of time. What?
Already warned about differential settlement. Settlement is when a building sinks a little as it settles into the ground. Usually you want the whole building to sink evenly, uniform settlement. But differential settlement is when one corner sinks faster or deeper than the others. But that warning was ignored, and construction pushed ahead through 2017. The human cost was becoming clear before the structural problems even surfaced. In
That's
2017, a 36-year-old construction worker named Juan Chonillo fell to his death from the 29th floor. His safety harness was not attached to anything.
That's a good question, JB. It's a very good question. It's definitely not what I'm saying. But what I'm saying is, such as the Chimney Hollow reservoir in Colorado, that they found uranium in heavy rainfall runoff. They didn't do the ecological studies that they needed to make sure that it was safe to use. Same thing here. They knew what was underneath there. They knew what they were doing. They knew what would be potentially the best way of building it, and they still chose to do the cheap route. All I'm saying is we as people have got to start holding people accountable. So when this becomes a disaster, who has to clean it up, right? Who? I'm becoming an owl. Who?
Concrete subcontractor on the project, SSC High-Rise Construction, later pleaded guilty to second-degree manslaughter. The site was shut down for months. But as the tower grew taller and heavier, the soil did exactly what the experts feared. It started to give way. By early 2018, the foundation was sinking unevenly, and the entire tower began to lean to the north by about 3 inches. 3 inches sinking is a disaster for a skyscraper. As the building got taller, the lean grew wider. To fix it on the fly, contractors tried to tilt the upper floors slightly in the opposite direction. Instead of a straight tower...
And that's fair, JB. I appreciate the thought-provoking questions. That's just it, is like I said, just find a better place to do it, right? Location is key for longevity. They used to take uranium-depleted stone and pave it under the roads in Denver. Oh, that's interesting. That's interesting.
They accidentally created a curve. Engineers gave it a nickname, the banana.
The banana.
This curve made it impossible to finish the building. A skyscraper's glass skin, the curtain wall, is designed for a perfectly straight frame. Because the building was curved, the glass panels wouldn't line up, gaps opened up, and the exterior couldn't be sealed. As the frame moved further out of alignment, nothing worked anymore. The elevator shafts weren't straight, the plumbing wouldn't drain properly with gravity, and the window seals couldn't stay tight. The money they saved by skipping the bedrock had created a nightmare. Worse yet, as the project ground to a halt, the finger-pointing began. Everyone was looking for someone to blame, but...
So not only do we have it curving to the point where we can't seal the windows, now we're looking at it shifting to the point where we've got 3 inches of shift. Is that all it's going to shift? Because there's a really big, really expensive building right next to it, probably on both sides of it, that if it falls into, how much money is it going to cause? Who is to blame for that at that point in time, right? Nothing wrong with the curve. Goodness gracious. Today we're having some...
Nobody could agree on who was responsible for the tower that wouldn't stand
exactly,
straight.
Largeman. Alex,
So
what are you doing?
who's responsible for all this mess? Instead of engineers solving a problem, it became a swarm of lawyers protecting their clients. In March 2019, the general contractor Pizzarotti fired the first shot by suing the developer Fortis. The developer chose a cheaper, riskier foundation despite clear warnings, making the building unsafe for workers.
Sounds like a pretty clear-cut case there. I'm not sure why it went anywhere else. The developer cut corners. Developer sounds like he's at fault.
Fortis fired back a few months later, arguing that the lean wasn't because of the foundation at all, but because Pizzarotti did a poor job of pouring and sequencing the concrete. As the two main players fought, the money behind the project began to fall apart. pulling everyone into the legal fire. Fortis sued Bank Lumi over loan payments, while the bank moved to foreclose on a $120 million loan. By
This is exactly it, JB, right? Right there. Is this building is massive. It will destroy city blocks. Will when it falls. Not if, because it's already starting to shift. Before it was to the point where it is now, they continued to build instead of stopping production and saying, okay, we need to fix this now. What can we do to do this? Or we need to just scrap it and take the loss. I get it. I do. As a business owner, I understand. But this is not okay, because just like JB is saying, when this falls, this is going to do damage to people that cannot necessarily afford it. And it's probably going to be the taxpayers that take the brunt of it. Alexandria. You're probably good. I don't seem to have many mods in the chat today. I'm not sure. Let's see. Has a mod gone to the vetting room to vet a static age at all? Doesn't look like it. If there's a mod available, he is in the vetting room waiting. If there's not, we'll get it figured out. No worries.
2022, other lenders filed lawsuits alleging fraud. Individual condo buyers who had expected luxury homes sued to get their massive deposits back. Even the insurance companies ended up in a dispute over bonds. By 2020,
yeah, right. Like even like there's, I don't know how anybody could think that a straight window is going to be able to fit in a curved hole or spot. Now you guys got me thinking about what I'm saying, so I'm not all beating degen and shit. Come on. JM says, it's like, shouldn't it just fall like Tower 7? For real, though, right? For real. Hey, birds aren't even real. Good to see ya. Good to see ya. Worst game of Jenga ever. Seriously, though. Seriously. Oh, Alexandria, whatever. Oh, if you can see the Tater Talk stream, you might be able to go in without having to deal with the vetting. Like I said, if we don't have a mod available, we'll just do it in the vetting room, so that if there is some people that want to join that aren't part of the Discord yet, they're welcome to join. Because again, I want to have anybody that would like to join. Is it they'll just bow the glass to fit? Well, sometimes, so it is possible that they could make specific glass panels. So, like, for example, in Dubai, yet again, there is a building that is made out of complete glass or mirrored glass. And in the desert, you can't just have a regular old mirror. So they had to specifically make these panels for what they were going to be on this building, take them back, coat them, and then take them back and put them in. So it is possible that they could have done special windows, come back, put them in, those kind of things. But again, the money. And nobody wants to spend the money anymore. But that's the problem. This is why I say, like, we as people, there's got to be something that we can be doing to be pushing for more accountability on things like this. Edgar is now thinking about everything he says because of Alex. You're in good company. Well, tell him I feel his pain. We're in good company. That's funny. All right. So, any thoughts on the Dubai Line City? Yeah. So that was actually what I was talking about earlier. And I'll be discussing it again in depth probably later. It is essentially dead, as far as I know. They are no longer continuing on with the line, but they have gone through and scoured the desert. This scar in the desert that can be seen from space, right, from satellites. And so How much damage is that going to do? How much money was spent? What is that going to do to the overall economy in Dubai? You know, all those kind of things need to be taken into account. Maybe nothing. Maybe there's nothing to have to worry about. But $1.5 trillion were spent, whatever the case was, whatever they ended up spending on it, to just sit there now.
23, the situation got even messier when new parties tried to buy the distressed loans and claimed they were misled during the process. Everyone is pointing at someone else, and that creates a massive problem for the building itself. Fixing the tower, which would involve drilling new piles under the foundation and jacking the floors back into place, could cost over $100 million. If you're the developer, you aren't spending that kind of money until a judge says it's your fault. If you're the contractor, you aren't touching it either. Because of this legal standoff, no one is willing to spend a single dollar on repairs. As of 2026, the court case is still dragging through the system. The building has been frozen for over 5 years now, sitting as a hollow, leaning shell on the Manhattan skyline. By New York standards.
Right, Alexandria? I mean, come on. They could be donating it to us. But this is wild to me to think that somebody signed off on this. So there's a building similar to this in the area that I'm in, and basically the ecological studies came back saying that they can't put that there. So the developers went and found a ecological scientist that would sign off on it, right? They just found somebody that they could pay off to do what they needed to do, and now the building is being built. So what's going to end up happening later? I don't know. I'm not an ecological scientist. But the ecological scientist that first said wasn't good, why did they say that? Right? We need to be, I don't know. Again, I as lonely people, it's not like we're doing these mega buildings, these mega projects. But when inevitably this falls, like JB said, and it takes out buildings, it takes out these wires, it takes out city streets and city buildings, that's taxpayers' money. Regardless of who owns the buildings around it, the city streets and those kind of things are going to be taxpayers' money. So something's got to be done about this kind of stuff. Fair enough. His English is getting better, but his ears are not. That's funny. They get buku amounts of money, 1.5 trillion, just a small dent. Yeah, unfortunately, that's the problem. Just like the owners of the trade tower and the Tower 7 probably going to make out like bandit from the insurance. What's funny about that, JM, is the Larry Silverstein, the one that owned the Twin Towers, took out a sizable insurance plan just weeks prior to the attack, and that sizable plan just happened to include terrorist attacks. It was kind of interesting, kind of wild to think of just how smart these investors are and how much money that they can make by just being there at the right time in the right place. It's just crazy to me. Almost feel sorry for these multi-million dollar investors. I mean, right, JB? Poor billionaires. Poor billionaires. They're going to have to spend $100 million to get this right. They need to. It needs to happen. Something needs to happen before the taxpayers have to pay for it. You know, maybe, I don't know, maybe this is why I'm covering this, to get it out there, and so people start to say this is enough. But, like, seriously, enough is enough.
The courts could take several more years to reach a final decision. When you add the $64 million land cost, the $120 million construction loan, the additional mezzanine financing, years of carrying costs and mounting legal fees, the total all-in exposure on this project has crossed $400 million. And not a single family has ever lived there. The lawsuits and the lien explain why this building hasn't been finished, but there is a separate, equally important reason why no one can legally occupy it, even if every lawsuit settled tomorrow. In New York City, before a single resident can move into any building, the developer must obtain a certificate of occupancy, a formal sign-off from the Department of Buildings
enough, Kyle.
confirming the structure is safe and meets all applicable codes. At 161 Maiden Lane, that certificate has never been issued for a single unit. The lien, the unresolved facade,
And it's
the
never
incomplete
going to
mechanical
be.
systems.
So again, this is going to have to be taken down. There, at this point in time, I could be incorrect, and they could potentially still be able to go underneath it and jack this structure up. But when we're talking about how high is this building at this point in time, how much weight are we talking about? How deep would they have to go for the pylons? How would they dig those directly underneath the structure? Those kind of things. Again, I'm not a structural engineer, so I can only speculate. But more than likely, this building is just going to have to come down. Now, again, I've never been in a big city to the point where I feel like I can say how they take these buildings down. But I would assume that they're going to have to take them down the same, essentially, route that they did to put them up. They can't take a wrecking ball to these buildings. Maybe controlled demolition to the point where it falls straight down on itself, kind of like the Twin Towers did, right? I guess they could run a plane into it and the floors topple like the Twin Towers did, right? That seemed to work out pretty well for them. I don't know, but something is going to have to happen for this building to come down and then be rebuilt. And more than likely, they're not going to want to rebuild this. So my question is if this is built on that trash soil, is this building too built on that trash soil? And how was it built? Because it looks like a hell of a lot bigger of a building than the one that we're looking at that didn't get finished. So I'm kind of curious on that one. Let's see. Birds and my internet hiccuped. Fair enough. They're coming after you. That's funny. All right.
The building fails to meet the minimum requirements. The failure to secure even a temporary certificate of occupancy by a contractual deadline of May 2020 was one of the specific triggers Bank Leumi cited when it moved to foreclose. And without that certificate, the financial dominoes fall completely. No insurer will underwrite a residential policy on an unoccupied tilting structure with open structural questions.
That's a very good point, JM. If they can figure out how to build it, they can figure out how to take it down, and they need to be figuring out how to take these structures down safely, efficiently, whatever the case is. They need to be doing this so that the ground can be reused. The neighbors don't have to worry about it being a problem later on. Those kind of things. All of this needs to come into account. Controlled explosive demolition is the only way to take down, but even that is risky thanks to the lien. Exactly. So that's the main reason why I say that, Vosh, is because with that lien, there's still going to be, so if it's leaned 3 inches at the top at 150 feet, you're looking at good feet worth of lean. So if they take that down, just straight blow it, it's going to cause a big problem, I think. JM, yeah. Unfortunately, you're probably spot on there. Watch, they'll take down 30 to 40 stories and just leave it, say it's safe. Probably try to rebuild it later. Just fly a plane in seems to have worked out pretty well. Sorry. I thought it was funny. Yeah, Vosh is right. Normal building explosives are at every floor on various points of structure dependence. Then they set off in a way to make the top floors fall inward. The lien makes that risky, possibly impossible. Yeah. So if you don't know how a controlled demolition happens, look at Building 7. If you don't know how a controlled demolition works, what they do is they'll cut the structural beams at 45 degrees inward so that when the explosion takes out those beams, they'll slide in on themselves and then the whole building will collapse in onto itself. And if you look at a lot of the buildings that are structurally, controlled demolition, they will all do that. It hardly ever will topple or anything like that. But with the fact that this is leaning already, you have to take into account this point here dropping straight down. And so it's not going to be as easy as a controlled demolition would be. Yeah, I'm not blaming Israel for that. I'm not. I'm just saying that it was an interesting thing is all I'm saying. We love you too, JB. We love you too. Just don't run away. I know I say some crazy shit sometimes, but I just want people to start thinking again. That's all. Even if I'm just saying some crazy shit, I just want you to think. That's all.
No bank will approve a buyer's mortgage because legally there's nothing to mortgage. No certificate means no legal residence. Even the handful of original buyers who hadn't yet walked away had no path to closing.
Why not?
The building is not just frozen by lawsuits, it's frozen by code. And those are two entirely separate problems, both of which have to be resolved before anyone can ever live there. Meanwhile, the building itself is not frozen. It's actively decaying. A 60-story concrete structure sitting partially open to the elements in New York City faces a brutal environment. Without climate control or maintenance, the tower is suffering from freeze-thaw cycles. This happens when water seeps into tiny cracks in the exposed concrete, freezes and expands. This process, known as spalling, breaks the concrete apart from the inside out, eventually exposing the steel rebar to moisture and causing it to rust. It's not just the structure that's at risk. Any mechanical or electrical systems that were installed but never turned on are rotting in the humid, salty air near the river. The graffiti tags that now appear on the 60th floor are a clear sign of neglect. They prove that the building is no longer being monitored or maintained. Parallel to the physical rot is the financial decay. Even though construction has stopped, the costs have not. Property taxes and insurance for an idle construction site still have to be paid. Millions are being drained into a half-dozen active lawsuits. The original investment is generating no income. By 2021, almost every original buyer had walked away. And
exactly, Flashmit, exactly. You look at what is the Empire State Building. Pretty sure it was the Empire. It was hit with a plane and burned for days or something like that, and it was the steel structure was all that was left, but it's interesting. They'll play off Building 7 by blowing this tall building up wrong, then say, "Oops, my bad." That's funny. Alexandria, my cat pooped on the floor the other day, and I knew it was him. That's too funny. Oh, shit. Leah, correct me if I'm wrong, Tater, but if they do go wrong, they normally find out there were undisclosed structural issues, right? This is my understanding anyway. They do go wrong. You're probably right. I'm not real sure what you're referring to because I'm a potato and, in the moment rather than 20 seconds ago, the lag is. Gotta love it. Anyway. Sorry, guys. Let's see. Okay, we'll get back to this.
$272 million in sales had vanished. Finally, there is the reputational damage, which is the hardest to fix. In the world of Manhattan luxury real estate, buyers pay for a story and a feeling of safety. Even if the lawsuits were settled tomorrow and a new developer used the best engineering in the world to straighten the tower, the history remains. It will always be known
Blame it
as
on
the
the
leaning ghost tower
alcohol.
that they had to fix.
No, sorry.
That is a difficult narrative to sell to someone who signed a contract for a $7.5 million penthouse. So what actually happens to this building from here? The closest comparison is San Francisco's Millennium Tower, a 58-story skyscraper that also sank and tilted on landfill. Engineers drilled new piles to bedrock and used hydraulic jacks to stabilize it. That fix cost over $100 million, and that building only tilted. 161 Maiden Lane is curved. Because of that banana shape, the options are painful. Deep underpinning, drill new piles and try to re-level the floors. technically possible, enormously complicated by the curve.
Yeah, again, so if it's been done before, it's possible. That's awesome. But to think about it, $100 million for that building. And again, that might have been a bigger building. So, we might be looking at a little bit less for the leveling. But again, where now this one is curved, they are going to have to at least take down those floors so that they can rebuild them straight. And again, I don't know how a building of that size could be shifted to drill underneath like that. It's crazy to think about.
Partial rebuild? Strip the building back to its base and start over from a proper foundation. That means throwing away most of what's already been built. Full demolition. Tear it down piece by piece and clear the site.
Yeah, right.
The most extreme outcome, but possibly the only clean restart. Or the status quo. Do nothing while the lawsuits run their course. Every year that passes, the clock gets harder to turn back. None of these can begin until the courts decide who pays. Until then, 161 Maiden Lane stays exactly where it's been. No residents, no clear path forward. A structure the market built, the ground broke, and the legal system has put on hold. If you were holding the keys to this building, what would you do? Try to...
So I'm curious, for you guys in the God, Alexandria, curves matter. What are you doing? Jesus. All right. So in the chat, if you had the keys to this building, what would you do? Put a 1 in the chat if you would tear it down and rebuild. 2 in the chat if you would try to fix it as it is. Let's see what people think. All right, so we'll move on to that next video. So this one is basically the same kind of concept. They built so it says they paid $100 million to live here. Now they can't get out. So these are in this description below. The one that we just watched was done by Mega Builds. So go check these guys out. They have some interesting videos that they do. And then this one is Made For and Stadium Fault. Looks like 2 different creators were involved on this one here. So we'll get into this one here. Let's see. 2, yeah. You're just going to build it as, work on it as it is, huh? Sell it to the Chinese, makes them fix it. Give it to Donald. He'll get it fixed. That's so funny. What if I wouldn't do either option? I'll pick 3. Yeah, I was going to give more options, but I didn't, know what to exactly say. I'd start with a fire and run away. Yeah, right? Oh, man. I mean, I unfortunately, you can't now because you said so, but just burn it and start over. I mean, honestly, like that would be almost as safe, if not safer, than the controlled demolition. Oh, man. All right. So this one was basically the same kind of concept. Let me see. Of
was
course,
over
now that
$3 billion.
Where it's not going to tell us. Okay.
The people who bought apartments here were foreign oligarchs, tech billionaires, Saudi princes, and global celebrities. They bought these units not just to live in, but as safe deposit boxes in the sky. Trophies, status symbols, the ultimate proof that you had made it. But today, 432 Park Avenue is not a symbol of triumph. It is a symbol of hubris. The people...
So this building right here...
Park Avenue is not a symbol of triumph.
Right here. Okay? So you can kind of see it kind of matches the buildings around it, but it is... So this is... They kind of compare it to a pencil at one point in this video, and how it is comparable in ratio. So it's basically just a straight shot, straight up, and it's too thin for being as tall as it is. Yeah, once again, poor billionaires. Poor billionaires. Big Blue OSHA accident video is wild. Interesting. Big Blue OSHA accident. Maybe I'll have to check that out. Yeah, right. Holy cow. Sorry, guys. After the fire, the insurance can pay to tear it down. Yeah, right? Static age. Both of these are so ugly. Like, I mean, I get why you would think that it's a status or a trophy or whatever, but like with all the technology, and again, this could have been a while ago, I don't know, but with all the technology that we have these days, and even looking at the buildings around this one, the structural integrity of them, the ability to stand and hold their own, as well as being just as ugly as that one, right? I don't understand it.
Triumph. It is a symbol of hubris. The people who bought those $100 million penthouses are now suing the developers for $165 million.
Holy shit.
They are desperately trying to sell their apartments at massive losses. The building has been plagued by catastrophic floods, terrifying swaying, deafening noises, and thousands of cracks spreading across its concrete facade.
And this is 1,000 feet in the air, if I remember right. And it'll discuss that here in a bit. But at 1,000 feet in the air, you know, what we feel as 20 mile an hour winds is 120 up at 1,000 feet. And it was swaying drastically at 80 miles an hour. Unit sways in 80 mile an hour gusts. Metal groans echo like thunder. 3,000 plus cracks spidering the core, and owners suing for $50 million in fixes, let alone the flood that happens because of a pipe breaking.
Noises and thousands of cracks spreading across its concrete facade. The problems are catastrophic and persistent. It turns out that when you build a 1,400 foot tall concrete pencil for billionaires, the laws of physics do not care how much money you spent. This is the story of 432 Park Avenue, the most expensive, most exclusive, and most broken skyscraper in America, and why nobody wants to live there anymore. Before we dive into the catastrophic engineering failures of 432 Park Avenue, I have a
Hey, Phil, good to see ya. You're all right. Better late than never, is all how I always say it. Good to see you. Hope you're doing all right, buddy. Appreciate the engagement.
quick question for you. If you enjoy deep dives into massive engineering design, it helps the channel grow enormously. To understand why 432 Park Avenue is falling apart, you first have to understand how it was built, and more importantly, why it looks the way it does. The building was designed by the late, world-renowned architect Rafael Vinoli. Born in Uruguay and trained in Buenos Aires, Vinoli was one of the most celebrated architects of his generation. His portfolio included concert halls, museums, and corporate headquarters across 4 continents. He was brilliant, meticulous, and deeply opinionated about design, and the inspiration for his most famous.
But again, like Static Gauge says, it's so ugly. And like it'll describe here in a bit, these floors that you can tell there's something up with them. There's no windows in them. What it is so it'll describe it in better detail. But because it's so tall and it's just a straight shot up, there's nothing to deflect the wind. There's nothing to break up that wind pattern. So it ripples around that building, and that's what creates the swaying in 80 mile an hour winds. So what they did is they put every so often a floor that was just a breeze through, so that it would just blow through. There was no windows, and so they were utility only floors. They went 2 floors up each utility floor so that they could get to that height that they wanted to reach. Kind of sounds like a biblical story.
Most controversial building is actually quite funny. Vinoli based the design of 432 Park Avenue on a metal trash can, specifically a 1908.
So I will reiterate that. They built this design off of a metal trash can. So yeah, it's going to look ugly, but you built it off of a trash can. You're literally calling these people trash. What are you doing?
05 wastebasket designed by the Viennese architect Joseph Hoffmann. It was a simple square metal basket with a grid of square holes punched out of it. Elegant, geometric, pure. Vinoli took that trash can, stretched it to 1,400 feet, and made it out of white Portland cement. The developer, Harry Macklow, loved it. Macklow was one of New York's most aggressive and flamboyant real estate developers. He had a reputation for taking enormous risks and pulling off impossible projects. He wanted a building that was pure geometry. Every window in the building is exactly 10 feet by 10 feet. Every floor is exactly the same square. There are no ornaments, no flourishes, no decorative elements. It is a monument to mathematical perfection. But pure geometry has a fatal
Mathematical perfection? We just got done talking about the flaws of it. What are you talking about, perfection?
flaw when you build it 1,400 feet into the air. Wind. When wind hits a normal skyscraper, the building is usually designed to confuse the wind. The Burj Khalifa in Dubai has a stepped, spiraling shape that breaks up wind currents and reduces the forces acting on the structure. The Shanghai Tower twists as it rises, shedding wind load with every rotation. Even older buildings like the Empire State Building have setbacks and tapered profiles that disrupt the flow of air and reduce the swaying forces.
So if you don't know kind of what they're talking about, as the wind comes in and hits like the center of that structure, it's going to have to pull back and then billow up and around that building, which is then going to disrupt that sway, right? So it's like a tornado, right? That wind starts to spiral. It creates power. And that's what was happening with that building that we just talked about, or this one here, is it doesn't disrupt the wind. And so it just spins around it and then creates those vortexes as it gets out and around that building.
That disrupt the flow of air and reduce the swaying forces. But 432 Park Avenue is a flat, rigid square. When wind hits a flat surface...
Yes, Alexandria, exactly. Goodness. Confused the wind made me LOL. Yeah, Kyle.
At 1,400 feet, it creates vortex shedding. The wind hits the face of the building, splits around the corners, and creates alternating swirling vortices on the sides. These vortices don't just push the building. They pull at it rhythmically, from side to side like a hand rocking a cradle. Because 432 Park is so incredibly thin, that sway is amplified to a degree that most buildings never experience. To counteract this, the engineers had to do two things. First, they installed a massive tuned mass damper at the top of the building. This is essentially a giant weight, in this case a concrete block weighing hundreds of tons, that is suspended on hydraulic pistons and swings in the opposite direction of the building's sway to counteract the motion. It is the same technology used in the Taipei 101 Tower in Taiwan, where the damper is so large it has become a tourist attraction. Second, the
freaking wild. So to be talking about it like counteracting a tsunami, right? I want to say that a lot of those buildings in Taiwan and things like that have those to counteract the tsunamis and things like that they have, or the earthquakes that they have, or something that you don't have all of the time, but is a regular occurrence to the point where you have to depend, or you have to plan upon it. Where wind is almost an everyday thing, you shouldn't be expecting to just plan on it. Because when you're talking about something that weighs hundreds of tons, how fast is it going to wear out its moving parts that then have to be replaced. How much money is that? How much effort is that? Is it even possible? Because again, like we were just talking about with that last building, is it possible to jack it up? Yeah, sure. Okay. Is it though? Have we done it to a building that over time we have been able to see the longevity of it holding up? Right? There's a lot of new technology that we have coming out, and yet you 5 years down the road, you find out that it's not the greatest of technologies after all. So, where I'm not saying that we shouldn't advance, right? I am all for advancement, all for making our lives easier where we can, but we got to be careful so that we're not ruining things in so doing it as well.
Engineers left 5 two-story sections of the building completely open to the elements. If you look at 432 Park from a distance, you will see 5 dark bands at regular intervals along the tower. These are empty, windowless floors where the wind is allowed to blow straight through the building, reducing the pressure differential and cutting the swaying forces. But there was a secondary, much more cynical reason for these empty floors. New York City zoning laws restrict how much usable square footage a developer can build on a given lot, but mechanical floors do not count toward that limit.
So this is where it all boils down to about those industrial floors that I was just telling you about, the mechanical floors. So not only is it that they wanted to make sure that the wind would blow through, it was the fact that they're trying to skirt that
New York City zoning law how much usable
so that they could get more height out of it, so that they could thump their chest. Right? So this is all about hubris. This episode here is about the hubris of man, right? Where, like Alexandria said, why couldn't we do just a short, stocky building, make it elegant, make it... How does he... I want you to dance for me, you know, in True Lies. Anyway, you get what I'm saying, but the point of the matter is we need to be making sure that we're thinking about what we're doing with our money and our land and our resources. Because everything that goes into these buildings, they could be utilized somewhere else. That building's standing forever, never being utilized. All that glass, all that concrete, all that metal will never go back into the system until it falls, and we have to clean it up. All of that could be being used somewhere else. We need to be careful about it.
Square footage a developer can build on a given lot, but mechanical floors do not count toward that limit. By making the mechanical floors 2 stories tall and completely empty, the developers were able to push the penthouses higher into the sky without violating zoning laws. They used a regulatory loophole to make the building taller and therefore more exclusive and therefore more expensive. The building is so tall that it actually required approval from the Federal Aviation Administration.
That's just wild. Again, yeah, everyone wants theirs to be the biggest, and I get it. I love my scenery, right? I live in a nobody town, so I can look out and I can see for a distance. And it's beautiful. I love it. But when you live in a city, that's not always going to be a possibility. We need to be understanding of what we're doing with what we have. We can't always harness the world, the weather. We can't always do it. It's not always possible. Sure, we can sometimes harness the weather, but not always. This is men having a pissing contest, and that's unfortunately the thing right there. Is hubris. Is what happens when a man has a lot of money, but LDE. LDE. Probably, yeah. Know what would impress me more than a tall building that would inevitably fall? Buildings that would last tens of thousands of years with little to no maintenance. Exactly, Vosh. Exactly. Stop with the planned obsolescence. Just give us something that will last so that it's worth our money we spend on it. They could be trying to occupy our lands with a bunch of projects to take away our living spaces, also limiting our real estate options, which also increases the price of real estate. And that's exactly a problem I have with it, Craig. Yep. Welcome in. I don't think I've seen you in the chat yet today, so thank you for the engagement. And again, I'll just reiterate that anybody is welcome to join the panel here in about 20 minutes. You just have to join the Discord if you're not part of the Discord, and then if you are not part of the Discord, you'll want to go into the rules, react to the multiple potato emoji, and then that will give you access to the Discord. Once accessible, then go to the vetting room, and one of my mods should be able to vet you. If they don't have time, we'll figure it out, and I'll get you into the room. We'll open up the panel here about 20 minutes, and we'll talk about general infrastructure, hubris, those kind of things. And then if you have a subject that you want to bring forth to the panel, we can talk about that too.
It is a hazard to aircraft. On paper, the engineering worked. The building stood up. The wind blew through the empty floors. The mass damper kept it from snapping. The Federal Aviation Administration cleared it. The city approved it. The building was completed in December 2015 and was immediately declared the tallest residential building in the Western Hemisphere. But the engineers only calculated for structural survival. They did not calculate for human comfort. When the first billionaires moved into 432 Park Avenue in 2000.
Yeah, actually, Alexandria, it was built to handle, like it just said, the structural ability is there. It's just not necessarily easy to live in. So if we were to give it to the homeless or something like that, I doubt that they would actually keep it worth a fuck. The problem with giving housing to homeless is 90% of the time they want to go back to homeless because they have all of the room in the world, literally. And when you put them into a house or a apartment, it limits them and they get upset. A lot of them do. Maybe not a lot, but some of them I've seen. I have quite a bit to say about it. Oh, okay. Yeah. Yeah, for sure, man.
They immediately realized something was wrong. The building did not just sway. It groaned. It creaked. It screamed. When you build a concrete tower that tall and that thin, it has to flex. The concrete itself bends slightly under the wind load, but inside that flexing concrete tube are rigid metal pipes, elevator shafts, drywall partitions, and glass. When the concrete bends, the rigid components inside it grind against each other.
Holy cow. Why are they showing a drywall repair clip? What is going on right now? A pharmaceutical manufacturing company built a new $1.52 billion plant in my small town back in 2017. It has never actually opened up. Every time I pass it, I just think about all the wasted resources. That is wild. $1.52 billion. Now, I understand that these are private companies that invest upon these things. But again, when does it become a taxpayer issue? Because almost, I can't say, but some of them, more than probably there should be, are becoming a taxpayer issue. $1.52 billion of wasted resources that never opened up it cannot continue on like this. I've got a lot to say on this topic. Just got to get home, so I'll be up there here in a bit. Awesome, Voshmith. Right on. Yeah, again, anybody is welcome to join the panels. I'm looking forward to it if there's people that want to talk about this. Again, I never know what people will want to talk about, but I'm always up for talking about just about anything. That happened with one abandoned skyscraper in Caracas. It backed a vertical slum full of squatters. Interesting. Became a vertical slum of full squatters. And that's the concern, is it's like, again, going back to my movie buff, if you haven't seen District 13, Banlieue 13, I think is what it's called. It's a French film, so you have to either listen to it in French or watch subtitles. But it kind of goes down that path of the skyscraper of slums, right? Squatters. And phenomenal show. I love the movie. Love the two in the series. And then Brick Mansions, they remade it for America, and Paul Walker starred in it. So that one was pretty good. I'll probably show it in one of my movie nights on a Saturday night. I really need to get back to those. I was supposed to do it last night, I think, and things happened. So probably shooting for next Saturday for Princess Bride. That has been on the docket for months. We watched Citizen Vigilante before it went down, and so we didn't watch Princess Bride. So if you want to watch Princess Bride, we'll be watching that probably next Saturday at about 6:30. So it'd be 8:30 Eastern Standard Time. Craig, I don't just mean Spanish people being labeled as white, but I mean even some blacks being labeled as white and not labeled as mixed race either. That's interesting. I had to take the dog's potty because Edgar is with the chickens out back, and then they go back out right now. But I'm back now. They don't like the front yard with scary dogs. Oh, fair enough. Welcome back. Appreciate the engagement. Charbroiled. Nah, not too soon. It's all right. I don't think he that wasn't an accident though, but we won't get into that. Hey, don't call it art. Good to see ya. I'd turn it into a haunted house for the elite. 1 million per entry. The most exclusive, the most terrifying haunted house you'll ever gone through. Yeah, right. Good to see you. I appreciate the engagement, man. All right, let's see. Yeah, that was a good movie, right? Yeah, if you guys haven't seen Banlieue or District 13, like I said, it's good film. I like the parkour in it. Freaking awesome. Oh, I can't remember it now. I can't think of his name. He's a super good parkourist. Anyway, so I don't know why they're showing a drywall repair clip here.
The metal brackets that hold the drywall in place scrape against the concrete. The window frames flex in their openings. The pipe joints shift under the stress. Residents described the noise on windy days as intolerable. They said the building sounded like the galley of an old wooden sailing ship caught in a North Atlantic storm.
Exactly, Vashmit. I don't know for sure. You know, I'm not going to say that it is, but I don't see how it cannot be in the end. When that person passes on and they're no longer able to be held accountable for it, somebody's got to take it down. So it's literally a taxpayer every single time. Taxpayer issue every time, because failure like these lead to huge company failing and government bailouts. Exactly. Taxes are theft, guys. Taxes are theft. But we got to figure out a bit different way, because where I don't agree with taxes, I do agree with donations to the system. Hey, System Crash. Good to see you. Been a bit. I don't know if I've just been busy, but good to see you. Appreciate the engagement, buddy. Hope you're doing all right. A skyscraper full of squatters sounds like hell. Yeah, for real, though. Like I said, if you're not part of the Discord, join my Discord and we'll watch Banlieue 13 sometime, and you'll see what I'm talking about. It's a wild ride. It's a fiction, but it's a wild ride either way.
Creaking and groaning was so loud and so constant that residents could not sleep. One resident described lying awake at 3 a.m, listening to her $50 million apartment sound like it was being torn apart. The developer hired acoustic engineers to try and dampen the noise, but there is no engineering solution that can stop a 1,400-foot concrete tower from flexing. You can muffle it, you cannot eliminate it, but the noise was just the beginning. The flexing caused a much more dangerous problem. The elevators. 432 Park Avenue has 11 elevator shafts, some of the longest in the world. When the building sways in high winds, the elevator cables sway with it. If the building sways too much, the cables can whip against the sides of the shaft, which can cause catastrophic damage and is extraordinarily dangerous to anyone inside the elevator at the time. To prevent this, the elevators are programmed to automatically slow down or shut off completely during high winds. The system detects the building's sway and cuts the elevator speed to protect the cables. Imagine paying $50 million for an apartment on the 80th floor, only to find out that you cannot leave your house because it is too windy outside. You are trapped in your $50 million prison in the sky, waiting for the wind to die down. But it gets worse. The sway was so severe that the elevators frequently malfunctioned and got stuck entirely. On multiple occasions, residents and their family members were trapped inside the elevators for hours while waiting to be rescued. In a building where the monthly maintenance fees can run tens of thousands of dollars, the billionaires were getting stuck in metal boxes because the building was bending in the wind. And then came the water. In November 2018,
Fair too,
a
Static Age.
high-pressure water line failed on the 60th floor. Water cascaded down the elevator shafts and flooded the lower floors. Just a few days later, another pipe failed on the 74th floor, sending water pouring into the elevator banks again. These were not just small leaks. They were catastrophic floods that caused millions of dollars in damage. One resident, Serena Abramovich, who had bought a high-floor unit for $17 million, suffered $500,000 in damage when water destroyed her home. Two of the building's 4 residential elevators were taken out of service for weeks. The building's insurance costs skyrocketed 300% in just 2 years because of the water damage. The insurance...
Yeah, I can't even imagine, because again, with the fact that the wind is moving like it is and it's shifting it, any kind of rigid plumbing, anything that's rigid is not going to stay in place. So where a lot of the stuff nowadays is done with PEX piping, I don't know what they were doing here, because to break a high pressured line at an upper floor and have all of the lower floors then just flooded with it. Like Static Age is saying, it's ugly skyscrapers everywhere is hell too. Yeah, I don't know what we can do about skyscrapers, because where I do understand, we got to reduce the footprint so that we can gain as much whatever. I don't know. Personally, I like rural area. I don't like the urban setting. I don't like cities. For a while, I was in Salt Lake City going back and forth when I worked in the oil field. And I enjoyed spending time in Salt Lake City, but I don't know if I would have ever been able to live there. And they don't have nearly the skyscrapers, well, at least that I could see, as New York does, as Manhattan, as some of these skyscrapers that we've covered here. But to pay $17 to $50 million to own a piece of property that isn't even really a piece of property, but a piece of a building that could then end up causing you issues. What are we doing as a human race? Because again, I like rural. I like being able to have my house, have land around that house, and be able to work the field, work the land, have livestock, have things of my own.
Insurance payouts for the 2 floods in 2018 alone totaled nearly $10 million. Why were the pipes bursting? The residents and their engineers blamed the sway of the building. When a skyscraper bends back and forth thousands of times a year, the rigid plumbing pipes inside it are put under immense cyclical stress. Eventually, joints fatigue, flanges blow, and water pours out. It is the same principle that causes metal to break when you bend it back and forth repeatedly. The building was slowly destroying its own plumbing. But the developers blame the residents,
Andrea.
claiming the issues were just normal growing pains for a new building.
You're going to
They
be a
said the
problem. I can
problems
tell
were being
already.
vastly exaggerated.
That's all
The
right.
tension between the
I'm a problem
billionaires
too.
and the developers finally exploded in September 2021. The condo board, representing the ultra-wealthy owners, filed a $125 million lawsuit against the developers, CIM Group, and Harry Macklow. The lawsuit was a stunning public admission of failure. Billionaires usually prefer to handle these things quietly, behind closed doors, to protect their property values. But things at 432
Yeah, right, birds. They already got data centers being built up into the ocean. When are we going to start building houses and we just have an air-sealed tunnel that goes to our house or whatever? I don't know. Shit's getting wild.
Park had gotten so bad, and the developers had been so unresponsive, that the owners felt they had no choice but to go public. The lawsuit detailed more than 1,500 specific construction and design defects.
1,500 defects. That is crazy. And unfortunately, you see that almost that much in new construction. So I can't remember who was mentioning it earlier in the chat. They said new construction isn't really doing much better. And it's not. I was just talking to a customer the day before yesterday, I want to say it was. Maybe Thursday, something. Anyway, long story short, they were saying that they just bought their house, and when they were buying, they were basically advised to stay pre-COVID, like pre-219. Because during that time they were just basically like bubble gumming it together, which makes sense. But then we look at like things like this, and it's like if they're just basically bubble gumming this shit together, imagine what they're doing during the 19 era. Wow.
They cited the intolerable noise, the terrifying elevator entrapments, the catastrophic floods, and dozens of what they called life safety issues. The lawsuit also revealed that even one of the CIM executives had privately admitted the noise and vibration were intolerable and made it difficult to sleep during periods of even moderately inclement weather. They also complained about the building's private restaurant. When 432 Park opened, it featured a private Michelin-starred restaurant exclusively for residents, helmed by celebrated chef Sean Hergott. Homeowners were required to spend $1,200 a year at the restaurant as part of their condo agreement.
That is wild. Now, I understand $1,200 a year, over a year. What would that be? 365 be like maybe $30 a month or something like that. So it's not really that bad. Like you spend $30 a day on some of the fast food these days. So a sit down restaurant probably wouldn't be hard to spend that. But you're already spending $50 million on your condo, 17 to 50 from the figures in this video alone. And then you're expected to eat fast food, essentially. I realize it's a sit-down restaurant, so it's not the same, but as a Michelin restaurant, like that's just wild to me. The demand that you spend $1,200 on
By
their restaurant.
2021, the condo board had raised that mandatory minimum to $15,000 a year, even though the
Yeah, there it is. So what did I say? 1,500 a year, 1,200 a year to 15,000 a year. So that's quite an extensive amount difference on top of that 17 million to 50 million for the property itself. Crazy.
restaurant's hours had been dramatically cut back during the pandemic. The billionaires were being
It's
forced
fair
to
Wi-Fi,
pay $15,000 a year for a restaurant they could not fully use in a building they could barely live in. One resident summed it up perfectly. She said, "Everybody hates each other here. Everything here was camouflage." And then in April 2025, it got even worse. The condo board filed a second lawsuit. This one was for $165 million. and this one alleged something far more sinister than bad engineering. It alleged deliberate, premeditated fraud. According to the new lawsuit, the developers knew the building was falling apart before it was even finished, and they actively tried to cover it up. The condo board's lawyers had spent years reviewing 7 million pages of internal documents and conducting over 100 days of depositions. What they found was damning. The issue was the concrete facade itself. 432 Park is famous for its exposed white concrete grid. But according to the lawsuit, the concrete was cracking during construction between 2011 and 2015, and the developers ignored repeated warnings from their own architects and engineers.
So again, we've got people like telling them, hey, this is not going to work. And they're, nah, it'll be all right. We're just going to go 1,000 feet in the air. Cost $50 million for people to live here. We don't care that the concrete is cracking. Are you kidding me? What is going on? Like, come on. Seriously, what are we thinking here, guys?
The engineers told the developers that the thousands of cracks in the facade would lead to water intrusion, corrosion of the reinforcing steel inside the concrete, and long-term structural degradation.
And that's the biggest thing, guys, is when you encapsulate rebar into concrete it's not waterproof. So the water is going to eventually work its way through the porous structure of concrete and get to the reinforcement of the rebar and such. And this is before any cracking happens. So if there's cracking that is going on, that is allowing the permeability of water to get into the concrete, then it's going to degrade that rebar even faster. Now, these days, they do have rebar that is coated in some kind of plastic or epoxy or something like that to help slow the degradation process. But when you cut that, there's still going to be an open end on either end. I don't know of any substance that they sell that you can spackle that end. So there's still the water penetration ability. So again, and that shit's expensive. You're looking at another $1 to $2 a foot for that type of rebar. So on a structure this size, they're never going to be able to afford that. Really. If they're already costing $50 million for a penthouse, to then put that kind of rebar in there or that kind of structural reinforcement, you're looking at $100,000 or $100 million for a penthouse. Nobody can afford that. So is it really a smart idea to be doing these mega projects, or is it just better to do small projects and even stack those small projects? Once this project is done, we go on top of that and we build another house or something like that. I don't know. I'm not a structural engineer, but this kind of stuff is getting out of control.
They recommended applying a thick coating of elastomeric paint to seal the concrete and protect the building from the elements. But Harry Macklow allegedly...
Hey, jump in and stay a while. It looks like you might be a little bit new. Hello, Stacy. Happy Sunday. It looks like Stacy might have brought you in. So appreciate the reference, Stacy, if you did. And welcome in. Hope to keep you around. Appreciate the engagement. Stay on topic. Tater likes to interact with the chat. Exactly. Yes, Static Age. Thank you very much for pointing that out. I do like engaging with the chat. And if you're off on some random tangent, I can't. And it makes me sad. I'm just kidding. But no, seriously, I do enjoy talking to you guys. So I'm glad. I hope to keep you around. I hope you stay happy.
Refused. He did not want to change the pure, stark white look of the exposed concrete. The aesthetic.
So that bugs me because we all should know that white doesn't stay white. So to say, oh, I like the white, stark white on the structure and I want to keep it that way, don't go black, obviously. But to think that white is a smart idea is just wild to me. But it doesn't change the fact that we're talking about cracks. So it doesn't change it. Whatever you got to do to make the cracks stop, if it goes to purple, then it goes to purple. Then you deal with it, right? But you do what you have to do to make sure that your residents that are going to be inhabiting that are safe. You're all right, Stacey. I know it's good. I don't mind that you guys are talking your tangents. I just like talking to you guys. That's all. I'm just gonna ignore Craig. That's fair. You guys are funny.
Instead, according to the lawsuit, he suggested using a clear silicone sealant. Why? Because it was the same invisible sealant he used on his luxury yacht.
And this is where it gets wild to me. For somebody to just be like, oh, it worked on this particular application, which has nothing to do with what I'm going to apply it to, but it's going to work.
Lawsuit claims that Macklow, who is not a concrete expert, argued that if the silicone sealant was good enough for his yacht, it was good enough for a 1,400-foot skyscraper housing hundreds of families. The developers allegedly hid these cracks from city inspectors and from the buyers. They wanted to avoid construction delays and maximize their profits, but the cracks allowed water to seep into the concrete, rusting the rebar inside and causing the facade to degrade from within.
Not only is it going to be degrading the rebar, it will degrade the concrete as well, because it'll create what's known as spalling. And I don't know if they cover that in this video or not, but what'll happen is your concrete will absorb the water will stay, it will freeze and expand and then break the concrete. As a brick and stone mason, I deal with this all the time, because the water will make it inside the brick and it'll start to freeze and break the faces of the brick off. It'll get inside of your mortar joints and it'll freeze and break, and you'll see scaling going on, where the mortar joint will be like, it'll still be mortar, but you'll see kind of cracks that just kind of flow throughout it. And then when you put your finger down it, in between those cracks, it'll just kind of sand out. That's because the water has gone in, degraded the mortar, braked its way in, froze its way in, and cracked it out. So with this is the same concept. Concrete is going to allow water to get inside of it if there's any kind of cracks. When you lay concrete, you want that finished surface, because that creates as much of a water repellent surface as you can get. If it's not perfectly like glass surface, it's going to allow penetration of water. Alexandria. Yes, I'm a brick and stone mason. Old oil field worker. Not a man's man by any means, but you know, I've been around. Hey, unapologetic preacher. Jesus. Good to see you, Reverend Russ. If you guys don't know, he does have his own show as well. Go check him out when you have a chance. If there's a mod around, I know that they're probably busy, but if somebody wants to drop his channel in the chat, I'd appreciate it. Good to see you. Good to see you, preacher. Hope you're doing well, man.
The engineering reports commissioned by the condo board estimated that fixing all of the structural defects, the plumbing failures, the elevator systems, and the cracking facade could cost over $100 million. The building is essentially eating itself alive, and the people who own it are being asked to pay for the damage caused by the people who built it. As if the structural failures and the massive lawsuits were not enough to destroy the building's reputation, 432 Park Avenue also became the center of a horrific criminal scandal that shocked New York City. One of the most prominent residents and real estate brokers associated with the building,
decent amount of time,
was a man named Tal Alexander. He and his brothers, Oren and Alon, were elite luxury real estate agents who had sold hundreds of millions of dollars worth of property to the ultra-wealthy across New York and Miami. They were fixtures in the world of Billionaires Row, but in December 2024, the Alexander brothers were indicted on federal sex trafficking and rape charges.
Thank you very much, Homestead. I appreciate you dropping that for me.
FBI raided Tal Alexander's apartment at 432 Park Avenue, uncovering a hard drive filled with explicit videos that added to the horrific allegations against the brothers. The idea that one of the building's most high-profile residents was allegedly running a criminal enterprise out of his apartment at 432 Park Avenue only deepened the dark, toxic reputation surrounding the...
Just looking at that, I mean, it looks like it's the tallest building in there. And again, going back to the hubris statement and the pissing contest, to think that they did 5 double floors, so that's 10 floors altogether of mechanical floors, so they wouldn't have to have the occupied space so that they could go up higher, 10 floors higher. So like right down to there, at least that's at least as high as it would be, or at the most as high as it would be that top mechanical floor if they didn't have the mechanical floors. So they got that much more space out of that. That's just crazy. It's just hubris. It's just wild to me.
Tower. So what happens now? What do you do with a $3 billion skyscraper that nobody wants to live in? You try to sell, and you lose millions. The real estate market for 432 Park Avenue has completely collapsed. The lawsuits, the relentless bad press, the criminal scandals, and the terrifying engineering reports have made the building radioactive. Real estate agents in New York openly admit that they avoid taking clients to 432 Park. Sotheby's international agent Nikki Field told the Wall Street Journal in 2024 that she was simply avoiding the building entirely because of the toxic lawsuit environment. As a result, the billionaires who bought these apartments as safe investments are now taking massive losses just to get out. In late 2025, a Turkish designer listed her 86th floor apartment for $9.9 million after a series of brutal price cuts.
So again, we're talking 17 to $50 million that they paid, and she just listed it for 9.9. Oh my God, bro. Like if I have $5 missing, I'm like hurting. Shit, $5 is even a lot. Like $1. This is crazy. But again, like just the thought of how much money is wasted in things like this rather than things that will actually excel the next generation. And I'm not talking like, oh, the elite should just give their money away to charity. That's not what I'm talking about. But to sit there and think that you're going to make this massive structure that no one's ever seen before just because you want to, I don't know. I get the idea. I like really nice structures. Part of the reason why I'm a construction worker is because I like infrastructure. Probably part of the reason why I'm on this little rabbit hole here. But to think that we're out there trying to push for a tower that will touch the sky with a footprint that's essentially a pencil. We can't have more government, but we got to say enough is enough somewhere. There's got to be kind of a moratorium of some sort of massive builds. Again, the data centers that are taking up 1,500 to 40,000 acres of land per setup. Right? I realize that they're not just one building, but they're massive buildings even so. And when we're talking about 200 meters in the air for these structures, and yet, yeah, it is crazy to me to think about the hubris of man. That's all, I guess.
It paid significantly more. It was just one of many units that have seen double-digit percentage discounts from their original asking prices. In fact, between 2024 and 2025, 1 in 3 condos sold in Manhattan.
Yeah, Kyle, I have to agree with that to a certain extent. It makes you think that they're losing money is actually something they do on purpose. Back in the day, there used to be a cartoon that said spend, 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 bust the dollar. And once the dollar has been busted, what do we have? Right? Then we've got to go into the digital currency and things like that, which we cannot allow to happen. We cannot allow digital currencies and the idea that we have to have a certain mark or QR code or something to be able to sell, buy, be in society. We have to continue to fight against these concepts. But I think that they do it because they're washing the money and making the world deteriorate. Yep, like I said, bust that dollar.
Sold at a loss. At 432 Park, the losses are staggering. People are walking away from millions of dollars just to escape the creaking walls, the broken elevators, and the endless legal battles. And the tragedy of 432 Park Avenue is that it did not have to be this way. The technology to build super tall skyscrapers is sound. We know how to build tall buildings that do not flood, do not scream in the wind, and do not trap their residents in elevators. The Burj Khalifa, the Shanghai Tower, and the Ping An Finance Center in Shenzhen. These buildings work. They are engineering triumphs. But 432 Park was not built to be a good home.
Hey, Davey Bree, good to see you. Appreciate the engagement. Just dropping by to say hi and have a think. Have a great stream. Or give a like. What did I say? I didn't even. It's been a day. And I usually wrap my stream after a couple of hours, and I still have a couple hours to go with our open panel. So that'll be interesting. But good to see you, Navy Bree. I appreciate the engagement.
It was built to be a financial instrument. It was built to exploit a zoning loophole and push penthouses as high as possible. It was built to maximize the developer's profit at the expense of structural logic and human comfort. The developers prioritized pure geometry over engineering reality. They prioritized the aesthetic of the white concrete over the safety of the facade. They chose a clear yacht sealant over a proven structural coating because one looked better than the other. They built a 1,400-foot monument to their own hubris, and then sold it to the world's wealthiest people as the pinnacle of luxury living. And now, that monument is cracking. 432 Park Avenue stands as a towering warning to the rest of Billionaires Row, and to every city in the world that is racing to build the next super tall. It proves that you can buy the most expensive apartment in the world, hire the most famous architect, and build the tallest tower in the hemisphere. But you cannot bribe the wind. You cannot negotiate with gravity. And when you build a 1,400-foot pencil out of concrete and glass, and you choose aesthetics over engineering at every single decision point, eventually the physics will catch up with you.
So again, it goes back to the fact that they chose aesthetics, right? Like you mentioned there. We got to stop. We got to stop being so damn shallow about everything and actually start to think about what is the structural integrity. Relating it to dating for shits and giggles, I guess. You can't just expect everybody to be everything for you. You got to be able to settle for some things sometimes. You've got to find the structural balance. You've got to find that foundation that will work for the building that you build, whether that be infrastructure, whether that be dating, whatever it be. We need to start building a fucking solid foundation again. Oh, man.
People who bought into 432 Park Avenue thought they were buying a fortress in the sky. Instead, they bought a front row seat to one of the most expensive, most public, and most avoidable engineering failures in modern history. And the most terrifying part? The building is only 10 years old. If the facade is already cracking, The pipes are already bursting, the elevators are already failing, and the lawsuits are already in the hundreds of millions. What is this building going to look like in 30 years? What happens when the rebar inside that cracking concrete begins to rust and expand? What happens when the next major storm hits?
So with that being said, what's going to happen when that rebar starts to rust and expand and knock boulders of concrete out at 1,000 foot high? I'm a brick and stone mason, so I pay attention to bricks and stones and things like that. And if they're on even a level of 10 or 12 feet, I start to worry that they're going to fall out onto someone's head. 1,000 foot drop, we're going to be causing some serious issues with even the smallest little chunk. Because what, a penny dropped at that height is going to go through concrete. So, like I said before, are these going to become issues that the taxpayers will probably have to deal with? It's starting to look a lot like that.
Nobody knows. And right now, nobody wants to stick around to find out. What do you think should happen to 432 Park Avenue? Should the developers be
kind of,
forced to
JB,
pay
yeah,
the full
pretty much talking about the same thing.
$165 million to repair the damage they allegedly caused and covered up? Or did the billionaires get exactly what they deserved
good question, Kyle,
for buying a $100 million apartment in a 1,400 foot pencil?
So, oh, you son of a... It's not what I wanted to do. So you can kind of see here that there's another New York City's largest apartment collapsing. That one is not one I've read or watched yet, so that's interesting. But again, we really need to start thinking about what are we doing for that next generation? What are we doing for ourselves over that next generation? And what should we be doing to make sure that that next generation is set up properly? It's pretty much all that I wanted to cover. I've been going for a couple of hours now, so we'll open up the panel. It's going to be the Tater Talks panel room. So if you're part of the Discord and you would like to join the panel, there might not be anybody to vet. So either shout me out in the chat or hop into the vetting room and I'll try to keep an eye on the vetting room and I'll give you the permissions to join the Tater Talks panel. But when you get into the Discord, the little blue dot and then it says Tater Talks panel and then another blue dot. That's the room that you'll want to be going for. Like I said, to be able to get into that room, you got to go through the vetting room. It's not available to just anybody. Hey, dialectically challenged, man. Good to see you. Awesome live stream, brother. I appreciate that. I've been watching some of your streams or some of your videos. For anybody in the chat that wants to support the dialectical minded people, this gentleman here, go check him out. Dialectically Challenged is a channel of his own. Good stuff. Been breaking down some of Andrew's debates and things like that. So definitely give him some love. He's a little bit bigger than I am, but he's just starting from what I understand as well. So we'll do what we can to help him out as well. Hey, Mr. B, appreciate that. He is present, so he will be able to vet people in the vetting room if you want to join the Discord. And anybody is welcome to join the panels. Anyone is welcome to join the panel. I want as many views as I can get to bring that conversation forward. Let's see. Oh, of course, Dialectically Challenged, man. Of course. It is my pleasure. It is good to see you in my stream. I hope to keep you coming back, and I hope to get some people underneath you as well, man. All right, so let's see. So if anybody wants to join, feel free to join the panel. Looks like we do have somebody over there, so I'll go ahead and hop over to the panel. And again, anybody is welcome to join. And while I've got you, I don't ask for it very often. right? But if you like what you're seeing, if you like the idea that I'm trying to push, I could use a little bit of help. I'm a broke joke, so anything is going to be beneficial. And if you don't have anything, please don't feel like I need anything from you. Just give me the like, the subscribe, and the share. That's more than enough for me. Okay. All right. So let me see what we got here. Let's see. Hey, Charlene Smith, another newbie. Appreciate the engagement. Hope to keep you around. Looks like JB's on his way out. Got to go cut some grass. Fair enough. I appreciate the engagement and the time that I had with you, JB. Take care of yourself. God bless. All right, let's see. What do we got? All right, you ready for me? All right. I'll get over here just a second. Got you muted for them, so. All right. Let's see. Oh man, I still need to make a new scene for this. All right. Anyway, welcome in Static Age. Appreciate the engagement and jumping on the panel. And again, if anybody is in the chat that would like to join, you're more than welcome to join. Just join the Discord and hop in with Mr. B into the vetting room, and you can join the discussion. So, Static Age, you had said that you had a lot to talk about on the subject at hand. Do you have anything that you'd like to start with?
Yeah, I do.
Hey, MSM, good to see you.
First of all, I obviously don't want to see
yes,
anyone hurt by the buildings collapsing or anything like that.
Yes, seriously.
Nor do I want to see taxpayers have to pay for it. But I think in a way it's sort of poetic because I think it's a small part of the destruction of beauty that we see in our culture and society.
That's awesome. Thank you, Stacy, again.
There's a certain group that wants to destroy beauty. I'm not going to talk about that because I don't want to get you in trouble.
Appreciate it.
But this specific thing has happened actually quite a bit. Going back to like the 80s and 90s, all over the world, not just these two examples. It's been more due to like a financial crisis usually, or stock market collapse, things like that.
Oh.
But there's several examples in Asia, China, Thailand, Korea. I think one of the more interesting ones is in Caracas, Venezuela. I talked about it a little bit in the chat. That was due to a banking crisis in the 90s, and it eventually filled up with squatters, and now it's like a vertical slum. But I find modern architecture hideous, and so I think it's sort of poetic in a way to see things like this happen.
Fair. Yeah, I'm kind of with you. I would like to see more actual integrity in our structures. Some, back in the day, back before we technically know it was even possible, the Sistine Chapel and those kind of things that were just absolutely gorgeous, and now we have a pencil.
Yeah, exactly. I grew up in a big city. I don't live in one anymore. But I was in a big city yesterday, and it was dystopian to me. All the buildings look exactly the same. They're just rectangles. And it was weird. The city I was in is actually, it's known as Cigar City because there's a lot of cigar factories there and
Oh, really?
cigar bars and whatnot. But in this one area that was very dystopian, there's no smoking signs everywhere. You can't even smoke outside. And there's, surveillance cameras everywhere and ugly buildings. And it's, I think it's hideous and unfortunate.
That's crazy. Not be able to smoke outside?
Yeah.
That would be crazy. Hey, welcome in, Alexandria. How are you?
Hi, I'm good. How are you?
Good. You have anything on it that you'd like to speak on?
Just the buildings, of course, what we've been talking about. I just think it's crazy. It just shows you how people who have too much money will just do stupid things with it over and over.
Seriously,
Like,
though.
they could have seen that there were problems to start with, but they were like, "No, we got this land. It's a good place and we can make a lot of money off this." So they just built knowing that they shouldn't have. And now it's like, what are they going to do? And like I had said in the chat, like, even if they spent $1 billion making it sound and safe, no one with a brain would live there because they'd be like, no, it's still not safe.
Right.
Like, I don't think without tearing it down and building it somewhere else, I don't think it could ever be safe.
Yeah. I don't. Yeah, I'm right there with you for sure.
Because what's under that is, trash and sand and wood. And like, it's just, you don't build something that big right there where the ground is just not stable enough or strong enough, or I don't know the proper word to use, but it can't sustain that building.
Right. Well, and it's like, like I'd mentioned, we know how to do it. We had the capability. They just chose to cut the corners on that particular building. And then the other building, they chose to cut corners as well to a certain extent. And so, like you're saying, it just dumb ideas over and over and over again.
Right. To where even if they tried to fix it, I think they would still cut corners. They're going to try to do it as cheap as possible. And people who have worked that hard and made that much money aren't going to live somewhere where in the back of their mind, they're like, yeah, I could probably die living here. It's not safe.
Right.
They're not going to do that. They're not going to put their life in jeopardy knowing that it's really not safe.
Right. Yeah. Charlene asks in the chat. She asks, "What buildings are we talking about?" So, since you probably missed the main part of the stream, there were two buildings. The videos are in the description below. So if you want to look at them, but basically there was one on Manhattan Island, and then one in, where was that one? I don't even remember where it was being built. But they're basically uninhabitable, and so we're just talking about the hubris of man building things that they really shouldn't, is what we're basically boiling down to. Hey, Sunshine and Coffee, good to see you. I don't like ugly buildings. Yeah, right.
Yeah, basically some dude wanted to build like the tallest building he could because he was trying to make up for something. I don't know what. And the building is not stable, so now it has a curve, which nothing against curves. I'm just saying the building has a curve and it's not safe.
You're right. Yeah. Yeah. So we're talking about two different buildings. One that was built on basically sand and wasn't able to support the building. And then the other one was built too tall with too small of a structure and caused it to be basically a tuning fork of sorts, to kind of give you a rundown. But yeah, I don't understand what we're doing. And I realize that we people, the low man on the totem pole, there's not much we can do about it. But there's got to be something that we can start saying enough is enough, because these mega projects are costing us money. Yeah, of course, Charlene. Anytime.
Example.
Go ahead. Straticate, sure.
There's another example that's kind of interesting in North Korea. They built a hotel that's 100. It's over 100 stories.
Holy shit!
And the only reason that they built it was because they wanted to have a taller skyline than South Korea.
Oh, really?
And it's a pyramid shape, and I think that it's like a perfect symbol of modernity. A hollow pyramid that was built entirely out of spite.
Right? Yeah, that's pretty much it.
Isn't it funny how they try to like recreate things though, but like our society does everything in like the cheap shortcut way, so it ends up bad. Like the pyramids, like right, like the Egyptians built the pyramids, I don't even know how long ago, and they have stood the test of time. Like, why are we trying to recreate that? Why can't we just travel there or look at pictures and be like, wow, these people a long time ago really knew what they were doing. This is great. Why do we have to try to recreate it with like tinfoil?
Right.
I know that's not really what they're building with, but like it's like they're trying to recreate things and it's never as good.
Well, and it's worse than just that. They want to recreate it the cheapest way possible, right? They're not even trying to recreate it, because if they were trying to recreate it with the technology that we have these days, we should theoretically be able to match the integrity of these things.
Or make it even better.
Yeah, exactly. But when you look at I think it's the rocks in Machu Picchu or something like that. I can't remember exactly where it is, but the rocks are so tightly formed together that you can't even get a razor blade in between them. And they're not like just a rock shape. It looks like they've melted the rock and they just slapped it into place. It's just crazy the way that things are done. So when you really look at things like that, we say we can't replicate this with all of the advanced technology that we have today, right? But yet, when we do try to recreate stuff, we don't try to actually get to the base of how they did things. We just make it look the same way, which isn't the same.
Right. I think because the goal with most people with money doing things nowadays, it's all about how they can make more money and how they can like be the best and like get praise, but not actually appreciating the beauty of whatever it is they're recreating or the history. It's just, oh yeah, let's make this and everyone will come and they'll pay money to stay here, like with the hotel.
Yep.
But they don't actually care about it. It's just how can we make money and recreate this? But they don't care to actually recreate it in an honorable way.
Exactly. The honorable way. Exactly. That hit it right on the head. Is they don't care to recreate the honor of what we had back in the day. The pyramids, the Japanese, they all of them are about honor, right? I have a lot of respect for the Japanese because of the honor that they have and the traditions and things like that. And if we're going to be trying to recreate something, if we're trying to mimic something, or trying to even make it better than it was, we need to be getting to the foundations of what they did. The honor, the traditions, whatever the case is, trying to mimic those.
I agree.
Yep. Kyle says China and North Korea have dozens, if not hundreds, of empty cities. That is crazy. I think
I
I've
didn't know
heard of
that. Why is that?
Yeah.
Do you know anything more on that, Static Age?
I have seen some things about the actually both. The ones in China I think are more like real estate scams. Getting people to invest and then not actually completing the projects. But the ones in North Korea, I believe, are more like they're like that example I gave was North Korea, but I think some of them are more like to make it seem like they have these high-tech cities and stuff, but it's really just a facade to show tourists, to make it seem like they're
good question. Don't call it art
than they are. They do that with shops. There, like they'll have fake luxury shops. just as show for tourists coming there.
Makes sense.
That they don't actually sell anything.
That's crazy. Here, it'd be definitely a money laundering scheme there.
It's basically just government propaganda.
I like what don't. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No, please go ahead.
No, men first.
I was just saying, it's basically government propaganda to fool foreigners.
Fair, yeah.
I like what Don't Call It Art said. He said, is the problem that people build these things, or is the problem that they know there are people who will pay without doing research?
Yeah, exactly.
And I think the problem is both. It's to be evil enough to build it, knowing that it's not safe. And then also the fact that there are people who are stupid enough who will go and buy it.
Yep.
Because they want to live in the tallest building.
Right. Well, it's like the commentator or whatever was saying at the first of that movie or that video. They bought them for not only the housing, but they bought them as safe deposit boxes in the sky. Right? They bought them for status. So just like what you just said, they bought them strictly for that thumping of their chest. I own this penthouse in the tallest building or whatever, right? Mm-hmm. So just like Don't Call It Art saying, or is it that they know that people will pay without doing the research? And they were just willing to pay probably before the building even went up.
Right. Just to be able to be like, oh, I live here. I have money. I live here. Good for you. Like, are you a good person? Because I don't care how much money you have.
Exactly.
When I was living in a big city, they were going to construct a big condo building. And the condos started at 1 million each and only went up from there. And
probably
it completely
Craig.
Sold out before they even broke ground on the construction. They did complete it, but it was just crazy that the people are willing to pay that much money before they even started building it.
Right. Yeah, especially when it's not even broke ground yet. I mean, yeah, you can be fairly sure of the one person who owns the company because they've had a good track history. But once people become a company or corporation, it's not just them anymore. It's the whole staff that you have to take into account. And to think that you can buy a property before it's even broke ground and think that you're good. It's like going to a car lot and buying a car before it's even made and thinking that that's going to be the perfect car on the road. That wouldn't make sense, especially with what we're seeing nowadays with cars brand new off the lot breaking down. I was just watching a video the other day of brand new, literally driving off the lot and breaking down. So it's just crazy to me to think of the cut corners, I guess. I don't know.
Mr. B just brought up a good point. He said there are hundreds of buildings in these Chinese cities that have been built to make it look like they need to be built, but they end up unoccupied. They're just being built to look occupied. And it's crazy that this is crazy to me because for China of all places, to have these unoccupied buildings where they could house people, yet they're not, especially when China has isn't it China that has the 2-child limit? Like you're not allowed to have more than 2 kids.
I think they've done away with that, but it was China.
Yeah, they don't have it anymore.
Yeah.
But it's crazy to think like they have space for you to have more than that, but they don't allow it. So you're just building empty buildings, but you don't want more people.
Right. Well, and again, like they have done away with it. They do want, but it's because their birth rate is so under replacement that they're forced to allow that those kids to come in. It's not that they want, and so I don't know what they would choose to do, but that's exactly it. They chose for a long time to only have 1 or 2 kids and continue to with their infrastructure to the point where they have all these buildings and all these things and claim that they have 2 billion people. And I think the most recent actual census is like 1 billion or something like that. So they're lying about their population to get money from governments and subsidies and things like that. So that's crazy for me too, for sure. But yeah, Mr. B, that's a good point. Go ahead.
The Chinese Communist government disappears a lot of people, and I think part of the lying is to cover that up.
That's fair. Yeah, Phil in the chat says this reminds me of the Tower of Babel, and that's exactly what basically I was saying when we were talking about that one that just goes straight up. Maybe even the other one, I don't know, but I was like, it reminds me of something biblical, and that's just it. Is we continue to reach for the sky, and there was a story in the Bible that we reached too high and got shut down because of it. When is it going to come to that point again? Hey, Beatrix, good to see you. Appreciate the engagement. Don't think I've seen you yet today, so thank you very much. Good to see you. Don't care how much money you have. I only care if you have more backyard chickens than me. How much you got? Anyway.
Who has the most chickens? Do you have chickens, Tater?
I do, yeah. I have, I don't know, a couple dozen is all I have now. I had like 40 when I first started them a couple years ago, but predators and this and that and the other. So I only have about 25 or 30 now.
I was going to ask what happened. I thought maybe you got hungry for more than eggs.
That too. Yeah, I do try to harvest them when I can, but I haven't had time to, mainly. But you have any chickens?
I do not. I have cats, but I don't harvest them.
That's
Nope,
good.
No chickens here.
What was that, Static Age?
No chickens here.
No chickens. Oh, bummer.
I was going to make a China joke after saying that about the cats, but I'm not going to make it because I'm being good.
Right. I was thinking about it too, so you're not alone.
Yeah.
And then just a reminder for anybody in the chat that might want to join, you are welcome to join the panel. If there isn't anybody in the vetting room, I will figure it out. But I think Mr. B was in there last I checked. Yeah, he's still there. So if you want to join, feel free to join if you'd like. If not, don't, no hard feelings or anything.
One interesting thing that I saw some people talking about in the chat is, saying that these all become taxpayer issues.
Yeah.
And I don't think I necessarily agree with that.
Okay.
Because maybe eventually they will be, but in most of the cases of, similar cases of abandoned skyscrapers like this, most of the time they're just left standing there, as a skeleton of the building. They aren't dealt with in any way. So, maybe eventually when they start to crumble and collapse, then they would probably become a taxpayer issue. But I don't think right off the bat they always are.
Yeah. I would agree with you on that one. That's why I've been kind of hesitant to say that it's a taxpayer issue, because I'm going to agree with you. For a long time, they're probably not taxpayer issues because they're caught up in the legal issues. Whose fault is it, and things like that. But when it boils down to it, if we can't, like, especially that first one that I was talking about, we got pointing fingers at this guy's pointing fingers at that guy, so on and so forth. When all of them pass away, and inevitably it does fall because it has already shifted 3 inches, 3 feet, whatever. When it does fall, who would be then required to take up that burden? Which I don't see it as anything but the taxpayers in that case. So like you said, eventually, right? But especially with that first one, where we've got fingers pointed at each other already, there's never going to come a time, unless a judge can definitively say it is your fault, which it sounds like this particular case could be very finicky to the point where, we can't actually point a finger and say definitively that is your fault. So it'll probably be in litigation till they end up dying or filing bankruptcy. At that point in time, what happens to that building, right?
Right.
So that's where I'm concerned with, and I think that's what Vosh was kind of getting at. But yeah, I do agree with you right at the first, and we should be holding the people accountable. That's kind of what I'm getting at, is we do not want the taxpayers to be taking up the burden. We don't, like you were saying it when you first joined, we don't want it falling on people. We don't want the taxpayers taking it up. So what I would prefer to see is for all of those developers to take in a quarter of the fines or whatever. Every single person associated with that should be held accountable at this point in time. That needs to come down before it becomes an actual issue. The same thing with the second building, right? It's all concrete, and the concrete is sprawling and cracking and falling away. So eventually it's going to become a taxpayer issue because a concrete is going to fall on somebody's head. That's going to become the city's issue because who owns the building, right? That kind of a thing. So, but yeah, I do agree with you fully. Go ahead.
I mean, in Manhattan's like prime real estate for developers. So I think in that case, they could, maybe a court could force them to sell it to somebody else at a discounted rate, and because they're getting such a discount on it, they agree to tear it down. But I don't remember where the other one was located.
Yeah, for some reason I can't think of where, if it even said an actual location. I can't remember where it had mentioned it was from. I know the other one was on Manhattan because we have built Manhattan as the shoreline, but the other one, I think it was New York maybe or something like that. But anyway, long story short.
Yeah. Oh, well, Manhattan is New York, but
fair. I'm a potato.
Yeah, it's New York City.
Gotcha.
I would prefer that they didn't ever build these skyscrapers in the first place, whether they completed them or not. I think they're all ugly.
Well, and I agree. Because again, it goes back to the fact that they're so high in the air. Is a controlled demolition really safe? Right. That's the only way that we can take them down. And is it really the best way of demolishing things? Things like that. Because whenever you set off explosives, it rattles things and could potentially cause structural damage to the buildings around it. Things like that, right? So yeah, I agree with you fully.
And look at what happened with the World Trade Center. A lot of people had health issues from the dust and whatnot as a result of it. Lethal issues. So
right, and look what happened with Tower 7. It was like blocks away, yet it caught fire. Right?
Yeah, and collapsed due to the 3 or 4 fires that it had in it. Crazy stuff.
Yep, just due to what happened with the World Trade Center. Yeah, Tower 7 just went down. So, I mean, we've seen, the damage they can do. Mm-hmm.
Yep. Yeah, like Sunshine and Coffee says, buildings shouldn't be so close together. I agree with that. That way, when they do come down, they're not catastrophe for everybody else around them. Craig,
even in
go ahead. Sorry.
I was going to say, even in smaller towns that don't have skyscrapers, the architecture is extremely ugly. It's, strip malls and parking lots.
I agree 100%, Beatrix.
And I just think in general, modern architecture, not just skyscrapers, is hideous.
That's fair.
And very, very unfortunate. It's kind of like modern art.
Seriously, though.
Modern art is absolutely ugly and
tragedy. Yeah,
shouldn't even be called art, really.
For real though, I agree 100% on that one. It's just so plain, the modern infrastructure, so plain comparatively to back then. Just like you're saying with art, it's stupid. If it's not plain, it's just straight stupid. The art these days. Craig says, I would like to see more Western castles. That would be dope. That's the way I'm going to be
bring
building.
back castles.
Hell yeah. That's what I'm going to be building when I build my house. It's a castle.
Make castles great again.
That's right. Oh, wow. Craig says, my mom worked in the World Trade Center for a short while before leaving to work somewhere else. Good thing she wasn't there at the time, I guess. My sister's friend worked in the World Trade Center and quit months before the attack. Dang. Lucky. That's good. It's good.
Is she Israeli by any chance?
Yeah, right.
I was going to ask. I just didn't know how to ask in a way that would be safe on YouTube.
That's funny.
Sorry, Taylor.
You're fine. Let's see.
I am being very sarcastic, Leah. I don't believe that building just collapsed because of fires.
Leah, we're just trying to be careful because of YouTube. Come on now.
Yeah, I don't believe that.
We don't really think that. Oh man, crazy stuff. It's crazy. Hey, Jared Speaks. Good to see you. If you don't know, he has his own channel as well. He does a really good job of breaking down terms and things like that. So if you haven't checked his channel out, go check that channel out as well when you have a sec. Anyway, so yeah. So like I said, I didn't really know what all to talk about. So if you guys have anything that else you'd like to talk about, we can bring up something else too. I think Vosh will be joining here before too much longer. Hopefully, he's working on getting his house set to the point where he can get back on.
Yeah, he said he had a lot to say about this specific subject, so
yeah.
I don't want to switch it up on him before he gets here.
Right.
Yeah, who knows? Who knows how long it'll take him, though? He's trying to participate in women's sports.
Exactly.
So,
right.
He's cleaning.
We can always go back to it too if we need to. So if there's more to talk about on it, feel free. But if there's something else we can move on to, and then when I could come back.
I could give some more examples of similar buildings. If I don't know if that would be interesting, but
sure.
One that was interesting to me actually, it was in Thailand, and in the 90s, and a financial crisis stopped the construction, and the architect was actually arrested for a murder plot that actually contributed to stopping the construction.
Seriously, Leah, this is what I'm talking about. Exactly, right there.
Sort of similar to that other.
Why can't we do something that actually works?
That, got arrested for sex trafficking in the example in the video.
Holy shit.
I'm sorry. I'm not laughing about sex trafficking. I'm not Erica Kirk. I promise. He said women's work. I'm logging in now. Women's sports. You're participating in women's sports. Cleaning is a women's sport.
That's funny. But yeah, the one video where he had been held for trafficking or whatever, and then that also blemishes that building's reputation, which makes it even harder for that building to sell, which is unfortunate, right? It's not necessarily the building or the developer's fault that the person was caught for that, but it doesn't change how things cascade, you know what I mean? So that's interesting for sure.
Yeah, I don't know. I think seeing these things happen kind of makes me happy. I don't think it's unfortunate. I mean, it's unfortunate for them, but I don't think it's unfortunate for the human race.
Well, yeah, no, I agree with you. It's not unfortunate for the people who didn't do their due diligence to do it right. Right. But it is unfortunate for the people who buy the product that end up getting the elevator shaft that floods on them. Pun definitely intended. But anyway, Vosh says he's Oh, now I'm a transmission. It's on, lady. He's gonna come
Let's
for you when
fight
he
then,
gets on.
Bosch.
Let's fight.
Let's
Do
fight.
it. Oh, there he is.
I'm gonna
There
sit
I
this
am.
one out.
You ready to
Yeah,
fight?
back from my female sports. Don't you know?
And I
men
do
should not be
appreciate that,
participating in
Jared.
female sports.
I appreciate you
I
coming
don't
because
believe
you like
they
my
should,
content,
but if
I
you
will
want to
always
do
shout
that,
you
I mean, I
guys
can't
out.
stop you. It is a free
You're good.
country.
You're a good guy.
Oh, the desire is not there. Hence the
Hey,
problem.
Werewolf, good to see you. Thank you for the engagement.
But to keep things kind of on topic, to speak about the broader picture of what Tater was getting at today was the hubris of man, and like how we think we can do all of these things in spite of nature, in spite of the risk, in spite of the cost. And I kind of have to contend with that just because hubris is what drives us to do great and amazing things. Like we've landed on the moon due to hubris. We've cured diseases due to hubris.
Are you sure about that?
I'm in large part, yeah, I would say due to hubris, amongst other motivations. Yes, the moon landing happened. So, yeah, it did. It did. I have seen the landing site through a telescope with my own eyes.
Okay. Are you being funny?
No,
You've been there,
I'm not
though?
being funny. No, but I have made my children promise me that if they ever go to the moon, they have to take me with them. So
Okay.
Okay. Yeah.
maybe I'll get there one day. Hopefully not in a urn.
Yeah, it'll be interesting for sure.
Since I'm new, I have a question. Do you cover anything like Charlie Kirk related?
Yeah. I do a lot of different stuff. The main reason I haven't really covered a lot of Charlie Kirk is because it's still so raw to me. Charlie was probably my number one inspiration of getting online and trying to create this space that I'm trying to create. And part of the goal was to meet Charlie. And so like not even a month after I started my channel was when it happened. And so it hit me harder than I expected it to. And even to this day, like I just started a Charlie debate the other day and I just couldn't watch it because I miss him so much.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, I will be covering more of Charlie Kirk. It's taking me some time to get over those feelings. I'm up in my fifis.
Understand.
But if you have debates that you would really like, or something like that, I'm always open to suggestions on topics to cover, and things like that. And like I said, I do want to get back into Charlie. And there's just so much content. Where do I start? So I'm always open to suggestions from people too. So if anybody has any suggestions. Werewolf. Yeah, I'll talk Charlie all day. Yeah, Werewolf. I know you will. You're a good guy. Charlie's a good guy. Was a good guy. Charlie is a good guy. He's not dead. I'm just kidding. It's like Elvis, Elvis never left the building or whatever the line bullshit goes.
We can just pray to the ghost of Charlie. Charlie's here with us at work. He wants us to work.
That's right. But anyway, getting back to the conversation at hand.
Sorry.
No, you're fine. You're fine. I was the one who derailed it there. I just wanted to make sure we were still conversating to the point where the audience likes it. But yeah, like I said, I do cover or want to cover more of Charlie Kirk. Like I said, that was my main goal was to be a lot more like Charlie Kirk than a lot of people are. But anyway.
Yeah, without putting yourself out there to expose yourself to the open air and make yourself a target.
Yep. That will come eventually. I'm not necessarily scared. I just don't have the ability yet. So like, for example, I want to do traveling. I want to go and do open debates with people, have open conversations with people. But for right now, I don't have the money to go and be in the open with it. But it's not that because I'm scared. I just don't have the funding yet. But Leah says, I watched his Cambridge debate earlier. Both made me smile and want to punch that Tilly in the video game. Yeah, so that's the thing is it was funny because for those that didn't see me cover that Tilly debacle with Andrew and her calling him a grapist on Not So Erudite's channel, and then Erudite saying that she doesn't know any better. She wasn't media trained, and then you go back through her debates from way back before that, such as this one that you're referring to, and not once does she have any problem there. So why does she have a problem now? It's interesting for sure. Craig says, I like suggesting topics, but I never know when I will be available, sometimes because my schedule has been so chaotic lately. That's fair. No, I get that for sure. But do understand that I do videos as well. So even if you don't catch the live, you can always watch the video of me covering the content that you want to cover. And hopefully we can schedule it on the day that you'll be able to view it. I don't want you missing the content you want. But anyway. Vosh, did you have anything else you wanted to say on it?
Well, kind of. So we're all talking about the motivation for like why they would want to do it. It's like, yeah, it's the tallest building, but also they, as far as like the financial practices they're engaged in, like trying to cut corners and stuff, it's not necessarily just so that they don't have to spend the money on it, or just laziness, or just red tape. It's also the fact that pretty much every corporation has to have in their bylaws that they will always be maximally engaged in profit, not necessarily safety concerns or even goodwill. Their primary function is to get profit for their shareholders. And that's a problem with every
I am
industry.
exactly the same way, Phil, and that's probably part of the reason why I've waited so long to cover him. That's fair, Vosh.
Yeah, I don't really know where else to go with that. I kind of think we just need to get the money motivation out of certain things. It's like, yeah, we all have to make money, we all have to turn a profit, but also we need to be thinking about the greater good of our fellow citizens, which is supposed to be what the government's there for, but they've been failing at that for decades, longer.
Right.
I'd say
really, she doubled and tripled
a couple
down.
100 years at least.
Yeah, at least.
Yeah,
it was a good start, and then it just immediately started going downhill, as predicted, though. That tree just needs some watering, is all.
I agree. It's long overdue.
Or to agree. Yeah. I used to be all about the liberty thing, full-blown anarchist at one point, but nowadays, yeah, that tree can go. I'll be fine.
Oh, Leia. I see what you're saying now. I wasn't sure if you were referring to that or after that. But Beatrix says, sometimes I'm just listening to this while I'm working on things. Yeah, my schedule is chaos too. A lot of the time I'm trying to listen to videos and trying to get content to use to cover while I'm working and trying to listen to it and do work at the same time. Anyway. But yeah, the biggest thing is like you said, Vosh, we need to and I don't know how that's even possible without basically socialism, which God forbid we ever even play with that more than we already are. But how do we remove profit from something like that, right? But that's basically, I agree with you. We've got to figure out something to the point where we can hold them accountable easier than what we're doing here currently.
Yeah, I think it starts with getting rid of lobbying entirely, like not just foreign lobbying, but all lobbying. That should go
Might be
away.
interesting.
Money in politics. Money exchanging hands should have no place in how bills are passed and how laws are passed. But after that,
Absolutely.
then you use the government to regulate.
Could be an Andrew Wilson and use an alternate count.
I mean, really every industry. Tell them, hey, we realize you do have to make a profit, but profit cannot be your only motivation.
Exactly.
I mean, it really would require an overhaul of the entire system, in my opinion, but it would be worth it.
Well, so the biggest thing is it's not just so I gain profit from my business, but I'm not out there screwing people like everybody else. So I'm not making I'm not just skyrocketing my business like a lot of these other companies are. And that's basically what they were trying to do. With these cut corners, they were trying to hundreds of thousands of dollars of cut corners that it's going into their pocket. Right? It's not because, I need to save this so that this part of the development is going to be better. That's just because it just went into their fucking pocket.
Right, and it's actually a symptom of society at large, is the need for immediate gratification. That's money in their pockets right now.
Right.
They're not thinking long term of the profits in the future. They're not thinking about building something. They're just worried about how do I maximize the money in my account right now.
Exactly. Where if they were to do it properly, over time they would earn plus such and such, right? They would get that plus exorbitant amount more because the people then sell it off or whatever, and then they have the capital gains tax or whatever. I don't know how it all works, but even once you've sold it off, you're still having some kind of income coming from that. You know what I mean?
Right. And this actually leads into something I've been thinking about for a long time, is products that don't wear out, like products with an indefinite lifespan if properly cared for. Like we used to have, I'm sure there's still people out there with washer and dryer from the 80s because they were built different. You keep maintaining that and it lasts forever. But the problem that companies have is they'll make these super long lasting products and then they go out of business because everybody already has their product. So what I imagine is like a company that goes through and periodically creates something for this industry, say washers and dryers that last forever, and then they make approximately, I don't know, at least 50% to 75% worth of product for everyone in the country, and then they move on to producing something else of a similar quality. That way they're always moving to a new product. They're making enough for most of the population to buy their product at some point.
Yeah, exactly.
It seems like a reasonable business model to me, but
even down to the materials that we use are lower quality than they used to be, like steel and that kind of thing.
Yep, everything's plastic now, and plastic breaks down over time, and it doesn't matter what you do with it. So if you make something that has replaceable parts, you're always going to need to replace those parts. But if you build with longevity in mind, you don't necessarily have to replace those parts all the time.
Cool.
Just clean them up
over time.
Don't forget to grease the joints on your tractors, fellas.
Oh, seriously though. Yeah, I just watched something the other day. I can't remember what it was. It was a tractor that they didn't grease for the longest time, and I can't even remember what it was, but it was just wild to see it. And it was still working, but it wasn't working the way it should be because the grease hadn't, the ball joint had been worn down completely or whatever. So make sure you're greasing stuff. Make sure you're maintaining stuff, guys. The biggest thing is we make everything to be throwaway, and we got to stop doing that. We got to make sure things are maintained and kept up.
Yeah, the thing that actually pushed me towards thinking about products like that was cordless drills and corded drills. So with the newer technology, we now have brushless drills. So it basically uses AC power, and you don't have to keep changing out the brushes, which I don't even remember the function of them, but I was working in a place where I had to constantly change the brushes out of drills and saws on a regular basis. And I was just like, okay, is there an option to not do that? And wireless drills often have the brushless technology. I don't know why corded stuff doesn't, but if you make something corded and brushless, what's the problem there? And turns out it's because of the planned obsolescence issue. They need those things to break down so that people keep buying more products from them.
Yep. So the brushes are what create the electrical charge to the motor. If you don't have the brushes, there's no electrical charge going to the motor. So what the brushless does is they have an induction ring around the motor that is close enough to the motor to create the spark, the arc, without having the brush that actually touches the motor. And the brushes, when they touch the motor, they would wear. The wear and tear on them would just wear them out. And that's why you'd have to replace the brushes. Where now we've got the induction ring that shouldn't ever wear out. However, it's still a new product. So, like, for example, I got one of the first generation DeWalt brushless impacts, and it has started to fail. And why it's failing, I can't tell you for sure because it doesn't have brushes. So it's not the brushes that are failing, but it'll just lose current. So it almost seems like the battery has come half unplugged, but I've checked the battery and that's not the case. But I'll have to slam my impact on the ground or on a hard surface to get it to relocate the induction ring or something like that in order to work properly again. So even those have their faults especially because it is new technology or quote unquote new technology. Like you just said, the planned obsolescence. Even with those, there's still the planned obsolescence.
Yep. I just think of all the sci-fi things like in Star Wars and Star Trek. There's all these things that last forever. They work automatically and everyone knows how to operate them. It's like, that's the future I want to get to.
Yeah.
I'm tired of things breaking down all the time. I would like for my door to open up for me and close for me automatically and not have to worry about all the mechanisms inside it.
Right. Well, and it's also like the fact that Kyle says that sounds mad annoying, Tater. Yes, it is very annoying.
Well, it is a time tested thing. If it doesn't work, smack it around and it'll work.
Yep, pretty much.
Yes, that always works, especially in the kitchen.
Right, especially
in
the kitchen.
Calm down, Stacy.
That's funny. Anyway, so
Alex, God, I get you two mixed up. I'm sorry.
Oh.
That's funny. I was just gonna go on past it and ignore it, but you brought you doxed yourself on that one.
No, I will call myself out at every opportunity. I can't help it.
That's funny. Wi-Fi says I love watching videos of impact guns getting rebuilt. Oh, that's fair. I don't know if I've ever actually watched one. Maybe I'll have to go check those out. I love the how did they make it? You know, how is it made? Those old movies or those old shows, those were the bomb, man.
For anyone who didn't get the joke, the best kitchen appliance back in the day was a woman.
Was a woman, yeah. For anybody that didn't get the joke.
What do you mean back in the day?
The rule of thumb, right?
Yeah, so if an appliance isn't working right, just smack it around a little.
Smack it around a little. Does anybody know the rule of thumb reference I'm indicating?
No.
Yeah, it's got to be as the width of your thumb.
Yep. In order to beat your wife,
Yep,
it had to be
implement.
the thickness of your thumb, and you could beat your wife with it. Not saying that that's okay, guys. I'm just saying that was what the rule of thumb came from. I don't know. I don't
Was that
subscribe
really
to
where
that.
that came from?
No,
you
it's
couldn't
seriously
use your
where it
whole
came
hand?
from.
Yeah, that's where it came from.
You weren't allowed to just use your hand?
That's a good question, actually. I'm not real
I
sure
think
on
in
that
some
one.
places, yes.
You could use your
but,
hand
in
or
some places,
a switch the size of your thumb, I think is what it boiled down to.
Yeah, I think so. In some places, there are still laws on the books where if you are going to beat your wife, you have to take her to the courthouse steps and do it in public view.
Jesus.
Oh, that's sweet.
Oh, that's
I love
sweet.
that. I love that.
Yeah, a little degradation and humiliation to go on top of the pain.
Yes, then she really won't do it again.
Right?
You would think.
Wi-Fi says, yesterday my wife said, I don't cook. I said, that's why I have you. Jesus. Oh, man. I'm not a misogynist channel, guys. I promise. I am kind of a misogynist channel. Let's face it.
Perfect. I love to hear that.
The ladies in this channel keep me from being full-blown misogynist.
I am a misogynist, so I'm glad I'm in good company.
Right? That's the thing. Is the women in my channel are the most misogynist. The men on my channel are not.
Yeah, we're still shirking off those decades of feminist indoctrination. It's a lot more risky for us to do.
Right?
Yeah. Yeah, toxic masculinity or something.
Yeah, when in all reality, it's just what actually built the world.
Right.
Oh, shit. Charles. I'm sorry, Charlene. Charles, what the fuck? Charlene, I'm sorry. Hey, you guys, why do women have such small feet? You guys know? No? So they can stand closer to the sink.
Yeah.
Yeah. Good to see you, Homestead.
I once heard of a guy that his wife got pregnant and she was like, I can't reach the dishes in the sink. My belly's in the way. And so he took out his sink and carved a bump for her and then welded the sink back together with the bump in there so she could reach the sink and do the dishes. He said, there, fixed it for you.
Right.
You said you're against men and women in women's sports, but I think that it's one of the best counters.
Which
for
song are you
feminism.
talking about, Leia?
Not sure when you see high school boys teams absolutely destroy professional female teams, or trans person, physically dominate a woman.
Nothing. You already told her twice.
I think it's a good counter against feminism, in my opinion.
Right, because they're like, women can do anything men can do. Okay, all right.
Right.
Well, yeah, it worked pretty well. We had it for a few years, and then everybody started saying, whoa, hang on. Now the popular culture thing is against that. So, yeah, really worked in our favor there.
Right. Oh, whoa. Oh, snap. World Cup going into overtime. Kyle says, the great sense of humor this chat has. Yeah, I appreciate my community. This channel, I have a lot of fun. And the Discord, if you're not part of the Discord, we have a lot of fun in the Discord. If you like movies, we have a movie night on Saturday nights. Sometimes it's like every third Saturday, if I remember. We have a Bible read every Monday and a few other things in the Discord we're trying to get started. So if you're not part of the Discord, you need a community, you want a community, feel free to join the Discord and feel free to be active as you'd like to be in there.
I love that one, Charlene. That's one of my favorite jokes.
I know, right?
I got to get going, Tater. It's always a pleasure to come on here. Thank you for hosting these. And thanks for the discussion, guys.
Yeah, heck yeah, man. Always a pleasure to have you on. Did you want to shout your channel out or anything like that while you're here?
No, that's okay.
Oh, fair enough. It's always good to have you. As always, you're welcome back, and you have a God bless night, man.
God bless, guys. Thanks.
Have a good one. All right. And then was there anything else you guys wanted to?
I'm actually going to have to head out too. I got to leave to go get the kids.
Okay,
so,
no worries. I appreciate the input.
I will be back.
Very much appreciate the input. Good to have you on the panel. We'll probably wrap up for the day, but
you started roboting on me.
Oh, of course I did. That's part of the reason why I say we'll probably wrap up for the day. Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, so that I've been getting some error messages on my internet, so I've wanted to keep it going because we've had a good conversation. We've had a good viewership. This has been a good stream, so I didn't want to necessarily wrap it up. But if you have to go, we'll go ahead and wrap up here pretty quick before too much longer. Was there anything else you wanted to say on it before you go?
On the topic, no. Just to reiterate what you were saying, everybody go join the Discord. It's a good time in there. We're always doing something, and it's a great group of people. We may joke around a lot and maybe be, well, I'll speak for myself. I may be a little more offensive than some people would like, but we do have a lot of fun. And Tater's a good guy, and what he's trying to do here is something that we need. So go show your support. Join the Discord.
Thank you very much for that, Vosh. Was there anything else you want to shout out while you have the floor?
Nope. Although, I guess next Vosh watch party live stream will probably be The Secret Life of Plants, since we were talking about that earlier. Best anti-vegan propaganda there is.
Fair. Right on. Yeah, if you guys don't know, he has his own channel. He's just getting started. So go and give him some love and watch out for his next live stream and things like that. And was there anything else you wanted to say?
Nope. God bless. Good night.
Awesome.
I'll see you guys for the watch party.
Right on. I appreciate you as always. You're always welcome back. You have a good night, man.
Yeah. I have nothing more to add.
Bye,
either,
Alex.
So bye.
Bye.
Enjoy your women's sports. I have nothing else to add either, so I will jump down. Have a good night.
You're all right. I appreciate you coming on. You're always welcome back on my channels, and I very much appreciate you being here. God bless you.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, guys. So, Werewolf, I appreciate that. All your streams are good, Tater. Even with topics I'm ignorant of, I still learn something from you. That is what I'm trying for. I appreciate that feedback. You guys are awesome. All of you are so awesome. Seriously. This was a good panel. This was a good stream. Even though I wasn't sure people would want to hear about this kind of stuff, it's important. We need to be paying attention to what the elite are doing that will end up costing us in the end. So, of course, as always, please join my Discord if you want a community, if you need a community. I'm here, and I will always be here for the community as much as I can be. If you like the material that I'm bringing forward and you like the idea, please consider donating, right? I'm checking if there's any donations. I like to give you a shout out if you do donate. So I'm just making sure if there's any donations today to shout them out. Don't feel like you need to. That's not my goal here. What I'm trying to do is just make sure I'm giving credit where credit is due. I don't see any donations, which is absolutely fine. Please like the subscribe and share the stream if you would. That would be more than enough for me. As for now, please take care of yourselves. Remember your Second Amendment rights within the United States. Your response time will always be faster than that of the police. And I'm always going to tell you I want to keep you around because I do. For those outside of the United States, please take care of yourselves the best way that you know how. Your rights are disappearing, and I don't like seeing it happen. So please take care of yourselves and your neighbors. Watch out for them. Always be kind. You don't know what they're going through. You could have been anywhere else in the world, but you were here with me. And I appreciate that more than I will ever be able to tell you. Christ is God, the King of Kings, and always will be. And this outro is getting longer and longer every single day. But seriously, I love you guys. No homo. And you guys take care of yourselves. The Potato, signing off.
Every promise printed clean. Stamped the seals we're taught to trust. Now the ink keeps changing shape while the paper turns to dust. Screens repeat the same old lines. Different mouths, identical tone. Truth feels rented by the hour. Facts don't stand, they're overthrown. They say relax, it's all under control. But control feels brittle, cracked and old. If certainty keeps moving round, then tell me where belief is found. Who do we believe anymore? Whenever your voice is but a bird, when or sound hollow when they speak. Authority without a spine, lecturing strength from polished weak. Every failure redefined, every lie gets dressed as care. When no one owns the consequence, beliefs dissolves into despair. We're told doubt means you're the threat, but blind face the heaviest debt. If questions make you enemy, then truth died quietly. Who do we believe anymore? When every side edits the past, when loyalty replaces proof and facts expire too damn fast. Who do we believe anymore? When trust won't survive the spin, if truth needs branding to exist, then maybe truth was never in, not left, not right. Just noise with uniforms. Not law, not truth. Just power changing forms. We didn't lose belief overnight. It leaked away one lie at a time. Say it loud, say it crane. Trust can't live where truth's unseen. Who do we believe anymore? With every mirror life the same. When doubt is labeled disloyal and truth feels dangerous to name. Who do we believe anymore? When silence feels like self-defense. If trust is gone, then answer this. What's the lies without belief left in it?